Hello, this is Kylie J.N.S. Happy Saturday, and we're going to be covering a topic, that's just been on my mind in terms of like the current jargon that we see being used in the media, around the topic of what it means to sell one's soul. And so I wanted to cover the nuances of what I think this means, given three case scenarios, in terms of something that's more metaphorical, and then something that can be literal. And so, I'm not saying what my definition or what my meaning of what it means to sell a soul is absolute or is law. I'm pretty sure that people can come up with other cases of what this means. But like, there's a topic, that's pretty prevalent in lieu of the collapse of the music industry, in lieu of many stories that uh, we have heard, or people coming forward, rather, people coming forward with their insight on what goes on behind the scenes in terms of procuring what one would call their definition of success or fame or fortune and whatnot. And so, like, we all hear like these conspiracy theories. It's nothing new. We hear about people coming forward saying, uh, you know, uh, they've been propositioned with the deal. We've also heard, artists in particular make references to them selling their souls in their music. I know Snoop Dogg did a song. I think it was called something about murder. He did a song. Who else did a song? Kanye West did a song mentioning it. People, a lot of celebrities, they joke about it and whatnot. And so, is there some truth to it? I want to break it down. And so I want to talk about three case scenarios. And then I actually want to get into more of the esoteric aspects of the soul within the eyes itself, or the optics itself, and how you can see, what's behind the eyes of a person. So we're going to actually like look through certain people that have like this clarity, or this purity behind their eyes. And then I don't think we're necessarily going to look at people that I suspect have entities inside of them, because I'm not trying to um, my intent is not to denigrate anybody or anything. So I think we'll just stick to the more positive aspects of just looking at people who we know is filled with light, just so you can get a definition of in terms of developing discernment. Again, not one size fits all. Even like the eyes we're going to look at, they're not all in the same genre. They're not all the same race. They're not all within the same, sphere of consciousness. And so we'll do that. But I also want to cover three scenarios in which I think it means a person can sell their soul, in terms of like the metaphorical aspects or analogical aspects, and then like something that can be a little more binding, that can follow you to the other side as well. And so there's multiple scenarios into which I think this is relevant. But when we talk about like this current change guard, and we see clearly industries under fire, in hot water, whether that be the entertainment, and politics and whatnot. So you see current exposure of many things that were once considered conspiracies, were once considered taboo topics and whatnot. And so it's pretty much common lexicon. It's like all of the bloggers, all of it's in the news. It's in terms of the stuff that we had kind of knew for like decades. So people have been trying to tell people what was going on in terms of the deals that get made, how people get propositioned into selling their influence, into selling their free will, pretty much. And I think people either did not believe it or knew about it, but were required to keep it under wraps. And so their job becomes that of agent work, making sure that those who are speaking the truth are constantly discredited, constantly shadow banned, that type of thing. So that that the rest of the public, unsuspecting public, or source players that are unaware, are do not start to pay attention to what they're saying into patterns, symbols. Um, and so, when we talk about what it means to sell the soul, the first scenario to me, I suspect is for ones who sell their influence to lead people astray knowingly. So there are people that, let's take it from the premises that everyone is a star. Like every human comes in with this certain amount of kinetic energy. And if you guys want to know what kinetic energy is, it's like, it's heat. It's the movement of heat. It's the heat as it relates to thermal energy, but it's the movement of electrons and photons and protons. But you will have, like, how do I say this? You're made up of heat pretty much. And so, like, in spiritual terms, we could say that's like prana, but that's not quite what it is either. When we talk about like life force, in comparison to kinetic energy, I mean, I guess we can use the word prana, but that's more so like breath. And so that makes me think it's different. But yes, kinetic energy is your star power, your heat, your plasma. It's hot, and your body is 98 degrees. Your blood temperature is about 98 degrees. If it get 98 degrees, you're about to be hot as hell. So it's this plasma. It's electrostatic as well, but not quite electromagnetism at that point. There's a component. So electromagnetism gives rise to like the idea of thermal energy. Well, all of the laws of the universe gives rise to the idea of heat. And so kinetic energy is pretty much, in simple terms, heat. And yes, your body does generate heat. As you know, you feel your body a little warm, and that is what your star power is. Now, some people have more heat than others. Heat also carries, I would not say heat, but thermal energy also carries frequency. So the hotter something is, believe it or not, it's like when you look at it on a spectrum, the higher the frequency is. So now we're talking about how thermal energy interacts with its surroundings. So your kinetic energy, how it interacts with its surroundings. And remember, keep in mind that you are a star. And so when people have a lot of natural heat, a lot of natural light, thermal energy, there are forces within, say, a false matrix that will seek to capitalize off of that. Because believe it or not, that prana energy, that thermal energy, is a source of currency because it can be exchanged. In terms of, now we're getting into thermodynamics and mechanical work. So when we talk about thermodynamics and work, we are literally just talking about the exchange of energy, okay? The exchange of energy. So say you have matrices, say on in certain dimensions, or we'll just go with planet Earth. On planet Earth, there is a matrix set up on top of planet Earth. It's separated. So you have this simulation that the universe created, and then you have someone that who, through their masonry or through their craftsmanship, can create another matrices within a dimension. And so that's what you see, like when we talk about like the matrix, quote unquote, is a simulation within a simulation, pretty much. So you have prime reality, which is, things that you know is in tune with nature, your trees, your ocean, your air, your clouds, your sun, things that you know for a fact comes from cosmic energy. And then anything that is inorganic or something that tries to mimic that, while it may be an innovative creation, there are systems that can be set up that can become quite sinister. And so that's where you see like this idea of the matrix, which is an illusion, pretty much. So you could look at it as an illusion, but the thing is, the illusion has to keep going. And so, unfortunately, when we talk about like, how do I say this? When we talk about like an illusion of a matrix, someone has to program that matrix, right? Someone has to know how to program the computational algorithm of that particular vector space, that matrix, that dimension. And so when we talk about like this collapse of the matrix, or what we see, this exposure, the year of exposure, and all these things, it relates to that programming being hijacked, or their fight for control over that algorithm matrix. And that's literally what you see going on. But prior to that, I will say that the computational algorithm of this planet Earth's matrix, the matrix that's been set up on planet Earth, rather, had gotten to the wrong hands, pretty much. Clearly, got into the wrong hands. It feeds off of destruction and war and very low vibration. Obviously, that's at odds with the way the universe works, and that is at odds with the way even planet Earth works, even being a free will planet. And so when we talk about like how this system feeds itself, it has to use star power, it has to use heat, thermal energy. And if you look up the laws of thermodynamics yourself, you can see how the laws of energy conservation, as well as the second law. No, this is part of the first law, where a hotter object can only go to a cooler object in a closed system, but not the reverse. See, the matrix on planet Earth is a closed system. We opened it up, so kind of obviously the laws of thermodynamics, that's why you see the matrix collapsing, because we found the legal loophole around it. It was just to open up the system, open up certain dimensions that are 1,000 times higher, that can penetrate the frequency of this planet. So, but before even that happened, the system was closed, and so it needed to capture souls, pretty much. It needed to capture light, lots of thermokinetic energy. But again, this system is low frequency, and so it reverse engineered everything, perverted everything, because let's be real, you guys can handle this information. We all know it was a satanic system the Satanists had took over the computational algorithm for the last couple of hundreds of years, thousands of years rather, and it's just now been taken back over by I wouldn't say non-Satanists. It just took them back over by certain bloodlines and rightful heirs at this time, and ancient ones, what we say. But yes, it was a death cult satanic system, but not death in a way of like destroyer energy or like Kali Ma energy, like not that type of death, like literal death of consciousness. Okay, because when we talk about death, we can talk about rebirth of consciousness or the resurrection of consciousness. But no, when we talk about death cult, but this ain't this stuff. We're talking about the death of consciousness, the death of free will, the death of light, true light. And so it feeds itself off of taking the kinetic energy of higher beings, whether that be children. Believe it or not, children come in with a lot of ether, pure kinetic energy. I won't say obviously, but they are coming straight from that star. That it's a stellar gateway portal that one gets through, that you're actually all still attached to through your transpersonal chakras. And so they still have that, more of that on them. They have more awareness of that. See, humans have that. All humans, or even adults, have that too. It's just that they already have successfully conditioned and programmed the mind to not even be aware of that it exists, where children still have that. And so the system, let me see the comments. Let me check my comments. Hey, Royal Deluxe. I gotta make you a moderator. Gotta do that. What's up, Royal Deluxe? But yes, so the system, it feeds off of like the purity, but it transmutes it for the way it wants to, what they quote unquote feel like is getting back at, and not so much the Dharma urge, but back at God. Now, this is their belief. I'm not saying that it's the truth, because they have a lot of botched knowledge and a lot of misinterpretation of knowledge, and they figured out, again, they're still fight. They pretty much, a lot of these bloodline families, they're being used in a proxy war for the anger that Draco, I'll just say Fallen Watchers, but it's deep. It's a little bit more complex than that, but I'm trying to keep things simple. Draco Fallen Watchers, for beef that they had with the dimension that they left, and they have used bloodline families and humans as pawns in that, unfortunately. That's been going on for years, and they do that by desecrating whatever they feel like their dimension that they came from, that they got beef with, created. That's why they reverse engineer everything on planet Earth. And obviously you see the shakeup happening with all of that. Now, when it comes to using humans as the proxy pawns in terms of their get back, or in terms of even the way they feed the vector space of their algorithmic code, this is how it used to be, is they would have humans sign certain pacts and oaths, whether that be with homunculus deities that the Fallen Watchers themselves created, through Bergonia. It's a term on it. It's like Bergonia, but on a much higher advanced level. See, humans were taught how to do Bergonia, which is like the alchemy of how to transmute certain organisms into, so like worms into bees. That's a real science that's been going on for thousands of years. Obviously, the average human would not know how to do that, but those at the top, they know exactly what I'm talking about. That's known knowledge. But say the Fallen Watchers have something that's even deeper than that, where they can create homunculus deities. So this just means artificial. Not It's not artificial. They're alive. They're just not. They just not sanctioned, but creatures pretty much that have advanced powers. This is like jinns, but even jinns wouldn't necessarily be the right word for that. But that's a good example of what I'm talking about. And if you guys want to know like what is homunculus, back in the, I want to say the 15th, 16th century, that was also a part of like Renaissance alchemy. It's Western, but it also goes back way before that as well. Um, they would create like these life-size creatures and fairies, pretty much. Again, this is all supposed to be under the realms of the secret societies. The average humans are not supposed to know this stuff, but yes, you can create like little fairies and little miniature. You remember in the movies when they would show like the owls coming to like miniature, like believe it or not, there's an aspect of that that's true, but it can get deeper because you can create homunculus deities to go into animals, to go into, this is esoteric. This is an esoteric video today, so if you guys are not familiar with that, just maybe I can actually share this on my screen a little, because I wanted to make sure that stuff is working, because I have to. It's been a lot going on this week. YouTube had a glitch where they like majestically deleted all these YouTube channels, and mine's happened to be one of the ones that got caught up in that, and so they apologized, and so there's still reinstating, all the accounts and the videos and all that. But it was like a lot of people that like they just woke up and their accounts were terminated, and then they said it was a glitch and whatnot. So whatever. But nonetheless, like, so we talk about homunculus, like entities. And people would practice this stuff, and this science got into the wrong hands. And so when we talk about like the Fallen Watchers who have considerably less deities, which is the botched version of creating an egregore. It's the botched version of creating an egregore. To do your bidding, they have power, information, and data, pretty much, and they have advanced understanding of electromagnetism, as well as how to work with the energy around them, the forces around them, to do the bidding of, say, whatever the spell or whatever the Fallen Watchers, whatever the agenda is. And so what they would do is create a situation in which it combining this science, mind you, with their contract law, which is another form of esoteric science. Contract law is Babylonian Luciferian magic. And when you start to combine like the idea of working with the entities aspect, like the creation of egregores and then contracts, what happened is that's how they started to get humans caught up in their shit, in terms of like these making humans take pacts and take oaths to their agenda lifelong, under deceptive means, under deceptive programming, unfortunately. And I'll show you how they do it. But this is one of the ways: murder of reality. Pair suspect pawns to using some humans got involved in this stuff knowingly and unknowingly. So again, let me make sure I drill this back home, because I want to still make sure we get on the first scenario. So the first scenario is encouraging humans to sell their soul through their influence to lead people astray. So we all know that we're dealing with the death cult satanic system that took over the programming of this matrix. and they have to feed that. So they have to lead people astray in terms of lowering the consciousness. They don't want like someone that knows that they are infinite or of infinite potential, of infinite consciousness, to be all in this matrix. That's why they kill a lot of like light beings, or discredit them, and try to lock them up, or just put them in a mental institution or something. They do a lot of that as well when certain uh, thermal energies penetrate the system. That would be like your light beams. But they started to develop a team through secret societies. They developed this, I won't say this army, but this network, rather, this network of people who would take an oath, take a deal to sell their influence, which is their star power, to lead others astray and away from enlightenment, pretty much, to be to do things that they would not do for fame and fortune and for money. That's the first scenario when I think of selling one's soul. Like, so like they only, like, when you look at the music industry, only showing we talk about mainstream, mind you, only showing stuff that is perversive, that's not going to get someone to the next level, always showing a distraction, always neutralizing good movements. When we think about, like, say, some of the stuff that they put on the radio, it's nothing enlightening, it's nothing uplifting. It's always something about some violence, some drugs, some low vibrational shit. All that's by design. That's feeding the beast. And the artists that will get involved in that, they selling their star power, their natural charisma, their natural good looks, their natural talents, to lead people astray, to distract people from the things they need to be worried about. And so that's one essence of, like, when you say the selling of the soul, because you're selling your consciousness, because you are allowing the system or a contract to determine what you're going to do, say, where, what you're going to sing about, what you're going to write about, and you'll get your money or whatever, you'll get your protection from the system. But that's not necessarily what you want to really be doing or even talking about. But also, for a fact that you're selling your star power to lead people astray, to distract people. And a lot of the artists, that's why they develop a network of getting codes out and getting symbols out for people to decipher, so that they can find out, they could put for themselves certain codes where they can start to enlighten themselves. It's pretty much it's not more even put it on all artists, right? I'm not saying that all artists do this, but I'm saying that as an element of it, and you can see that through the lyrics of some of the music, through the symbology. It's very obvious now when we think about, like, the occult aspects of it. Are some of those artists well aware that they're in the game, and they're willing to play the game and to make the deal, and they know that at the end that they can do certain things and then get out of it. There are some people that do that, and there are some people that unknowingly get themselves into deceptive contracts and deceptive situations. And you see many artists complain about that as well. And it's not just the artists, politicians, anything that's mainstream, anything that has any influence over your optics. And your optics is your eyesight, your anything that has any sort of influence. So that could be your social media. It's pretty much an obsession with mind control, the whole system, when you think about it, because it's like, we have the law of optics, and we also have the law of observation and what becomes real. And a phenomenon is not real unless it is observed or measured. That is your double split experiment in physics. And if you guys may not know that, let me maybe type in something with double split experiment about the observer effect, and what it means to create a reality, or what is reality. Okay, and so that becomes very, very important. And so anything that has access to your optics, they want to control what that is. Things make mainstream, other things get shadow banned. Usually, if it is conspiratorial, but within good reason, and the optics, you're going to hide it from your optics. What they want in people's optics is a distraction in what you subjectively want in your reality. That's all it is. I'm not saying it, I'm not going to put this in a religious connotation or anything, but it's to keep you from a space where you're not creating your own universe, so to speak, your own reality, your own manifestations, because you're distracted by whatever it is that's out there, that is, or your programming. They're doing the programming for you. You're not programming your own state of consciousness. They're programming your state of consciousness, be it with influencers, the media, the music, the news, the food, whatever, just hardcore heavy spell work 24/7 to keep their vector space matrix going. Their idea of fiat currency, their idea of forcing people to work 9 to 5 for their living on a planet where water and fruits and veggies are naturally free. They're making you pay for these things. They've polluted your water with fluoride. They've done all these. This is stuff that the inorganic beings have done. This is stuff that everybody pretty much knows about. But humans have become so pacified that they won't even fight for their basic rights to even say, I'm not paying for no motherfucking fruit and veggies. This shit growing the trees for free and kiss my ass. And so the people like us, like those of us that's like, okay, we're going to speak the truth no matter what, because we are the true light bearers. We're the true morning stars. You know, we are the ones that come under fire. The computational algorithm also has a code within the matrix of the system where it goes after. It's like, okay, those that are true morning star beings that won't compromise or won't sell out and will speak the truth, so help them God. This system sees them as a virus. And that's when they activate their network or their secret societies and go after those beings. And usually that is to either kill them, get them locked up, that'd be trumped up charges, get them to commit the S word, or get them locked up in a mental institution, labeling them crazy, even though they're quite genius. They're just ahead of everybody. And so those are usually that's usually the way the Matrix deal, the antivirus of their Matrix. This is how they literally coded the programming to go after true morning stars, to cover the fact that they are fake beings that have no business even in control of any matrix. They need to be in school. They are at the baby levels of consciousness who can only strive on fear and division and what else? Things that don't ever get you to the higher frequencies, the frequencies of bliss, of joy, of happiness. And if you could see it all around you. I mean, some people may have done a good job of blocking all that stuff out and they found their contentment and their peace. But I mean, if you just go on, your social media, whatever, you're going to see a bunch of sherm shit, most likely, unless you cleared out your algorithm of who you follow and whatnot. But for the most part, it's all designed so intricately to keep people's mind enslaved, to keep people's mind in the box of what they want in your mind, instead of you telling this matrix what you want in your mind and demanding or hijacking or arresting the matrix, arresting the computational code of this system. It's kind of like hacking it. And then, you put in the program that you want in it. And see, as humans, you can collectively do that. And that's what we're trying to get to now, where we're like, hey, it's the year of exposure. Let's wake all this stuff up about the industries and all this stuff. Let's get people focused on justice. Let's people start questioning things, start critically thinking about, like, okay, when is y'all going to pay this UBI? When is y'all going to deliver justice? When is y'all going to deliver a redress for populations that y'all screwed over historically? When is y'all going to stop polluting our oceans, polluting our water? Like, why are we paying all this money for a college education? Like, why is this stuff not free? Why is rent so high? Like, we trying to get humans to get to that point. Like, y'all gotta wake up, because only certain people can only do so much. We can only hold the kinetic energy of so many I won't say souls, but frequencies rather. So you got people that got more kinetic energy than others, but everybody has access to get more kinetic energy. By realizing that this is just a simulation, that we are all connected to the universal galactic force, whether you want to say God or you want to say infinite intelligence, whole of creation, infinite consciousness, whatever it is, however you want to say it, like, we're all connected to that. And that's what connects us all, but not necessarily through the meaning of like, we are all one. Now I have the right to hack your energy or steal your energy and whatnot. Not that type of thing. And that's what the Satanists took advantage of people, of that little teaching they was teaching everybody is we all interconnected, we all one. That in their mind, that means technically if you're unaware of who you are, and we put all the codes and the symbols out there in the books and nothing is hidden, and you still is distracted, that's your fault. We told you, I'm gonna steal your star power. That's how they think. They can't do that anymore. That's why you see the system collapsing. But that's what they have been doing for hundreds of years. That's when we talk about like the blood sacrifices and the identity swiping, mirror casting, capturing souls, and all that shit. Trying to absorb souls and all that. Those are all the dark arts. It's reverse engineered. It's not really dark arts. It's literally reverse engineered esoteric science that was stolen, pretty much. And because again, it was Draco. I won't even say Draco, but the Fallen Watchers. They have beef with the dimension, with certain beings in another dimension that they were from, and so they know, okay, we'll do the opposite of whatever y'all was teaching or whatever y'all was doing. We'll just do the opposite. And so that's certainly what it means. Like when we talk about like a person who will sell their influence, sell their star power to lead people astray by distracting them with shit that they know they don't even themselves don't even care about. With singing music they themselves know they wouldn't want to sing. Promoting stuff like we saw that executive literally say, like, yeah, we know that it's drugs and violence and all this stuff. We know it's bad, but he got mouths to feed. He literally said that on the Breakfast Club. He's like, I got mouths to feed. Oh well, like if y'all know it's wrong, y'all still want to listen to it. That's y'all fault. That is one definition of selling of the soul: to lead people astray, to sell someone's influence to lead someone astray. The next scenario is to sell your free will in a contract, and that is a form of mind control. That is like that's like when you like say join a society, take an oath for a pact or something. Sometimes the oath for the pact is like under the umbrella of like a secret society, so an organization. That is like to sell your free will, maybe knowingly, unknowingly, usually for money or usually for some sort of deal or some sort of setup, and you have to follow orders like a hive mind, like a bee. There's no free will. And the Matrix, the way that that satanic death cult system does operate like a hive mind and a network. So it operates like there's no room for like free thinking, because the way they keep people aligned is usually through blackmail or through fear or through trauma. So like say you speak, they're gonna knock off you and your whole family. People got kids they want to protect and stuff, that type of thing. And so people will be propositioned. Usually some people are unfortunately sold into this type of scenario where their free will gets sold in a contract. That could be like parents who sell their kids to the CIA or government programs for money, or sell them into the trafficking. They'll put a contract on that child unknowingly, on that baby's soul, which is illegal, by the way. It's totally illegal. That's why a lot of people that's why a lot of humans will end up breaking MK Ultra and all this stuff. That's why people still get protected by the vastness of the universe, even though they may have been may even be under that system, because it's an illegal thing. But there are some people that sell their free will knowingly in a contract. They knowingly agree to, like, okay, we won't talk about these things. They'll control your voice pretty much, and they have to follow the orders. They have to read from the teleprompter. There is no real thinking. There's no free will. And so you'll see that maybe like with puppets, or like say with certain politicians, where you kind of feel like they follow in the script. They kind of seem like they follow in the script. Okay, so Royal Deluxe said my sound is going on. Is it better now? Is it better now, Royal Deluxe? Because they do be, maybe if I turn it, because I had like this little music thing. Let me turn that off. Maybe that will help it. Let me turn it off, because they do mess with this sound. I hope that the sound gets better. So I turned that off, the background music, so maybe it will not go in and out again. But I do know, has it gotten better? Okay, so I wonder if it's the music thing, maybe it's that's kind of messing it up, or it could literally be. I hope my audio is dropping out. Man, I hope it gets better. But this is a heavy topic, so you know what they do every time I'm talking about a heavy topic. um, but yes, there are some people that will, like when we talk about the second scenario of selling your free will through a contract, that is essentially selling your soul in a sense, because everyone is born with free will awareness, their own consciousness. And so if someone is to sell that and agree to be mind controlled for money, in exchange for money or in exchange for fame or whatever it is, and you have to follow orders for the rest of your life like a slave, that's a horrific deal. Most people end up regretting that deal. So it's not it is not worth that. And anybody that knows that experience of coming into their own awareness, you would know that that's a no go. You don't sell your free will or agree to like join, take an oath to like say a society or something to fit in or to feel like you're moving up in the ranks or whatever. Maybe if you guys are going to protect one another, you guys are going to, because in this matrix they protect one another, and they can get away with a lot of heinous horrific crimes. They can, like you see the situation even with Diddy. Now all of a sudden they want to act like they just found out that he was doing that stuff when people in the hood knew about that shit for 20 years. So if people in the hood knew about it for 20 years, and then there have been rumors of P. Diddy being a federal informant, how the hell did nobody else in the industry know? So people knew, but they covered for each other. And in politics, people will cover for one another. In many industries, medical industry, people will cover for one another. A part of that, that's a part of that system that takes, that's part of that hive mind society that whoever who are under those oaths. And so to me, that's another, again, you can always break something and get out of something. Like you can always reclaim your energy, reclaim your time. And but most people, the consequences that comes with that from leaving their matrix, is obviously they'll be financially blacklisted, they'll be blackballed, and if they did any crimes, lo and behold, if they did anything that was bad or anything that they could hold over their head, any blackmail, they're going to put that out publicly, and then they may kill you, or keep you alive but just kill your family or something. And so, um, people got themselves in horrific situations by doing that, realizing okay, they no longer had the free will. And you can see the changes. And I like, if you like, with certain people even that I had grew up knowing or following, not knowing but rather listening to, you could just see the changes, and where you could tell that they are caught up in a bad deal. They'll never admit it, or because they have to keep those things under wrap. But for those of us that have like spiritual insight, like you could tell when somebody's in a bad deal, or if they're in over their head. Sometimes it's like, damn, you could tell somebody got in over their head, or that they were deceived. Um, you know what? I gotta get my Instacart order. Just came my Instacart order, so I'm gonna be right back. I just gotta get this order out of here. What's that? One of those intermission videos where I go that get those groceries, because I don't want them sitting outside like that. Let me go and do that. Okay, I'm back. I'm back now. I had to just put some of them groceries up because they are what is it? Time sensitive. Yeah, yeah. Royal Deluxe. I don't know if you had heard me, but I had to. You probably wasn't here. I had to go put my groceries up from my Instacart, and so I had made like an announcement that I would have to do that and then come back. So I hope you guys can hear me now. 1:13 p.m. Oh, the stream is gone. It should still be here. You can hear me, right? I had to them frozen items. I didn't want that just sitting me. Make sure that it's still going though. Confirm it for myself. Matter of fact, I could pull this up on my phone probably. Let me just pull it up on my phone to make sure that it's still going. Confirm it for myself. Okay, yep, it is. Okay, so yes, let's continue. So yes, that second scenario, being told what change for money, that can be also a form. Now, again, that's more metaphorical still, but we're talking about you're losing your free will essentially. And so that's where they talk about like the monarch program, and those there are people that are born into that, and there are people who are groomed for that based on their parents will say, oh, I want my child to be this mega athlete or this mega superstar, and so they will put their kids in those type of programs, and they'll go through a series of grooming and programming pretty much, sometimes with SRA, sometimes without it, to become that. But they, again, that in that context, it's illegal. But in the other context, where there are people who say uh, maybe they're tired of working, or maybe they just want to take a shortcut, and there are people on this planet that know that that is a shortcut, and they don't cut. They I mean they'll do it this at 18, 19 years old, 20, 21, 22, whatever. Maybe their parents would even teach them. Maybe somebody in their family would even tell them. Like that's the shortcut for us to just go straight into a better situation monetarily. There are people that would just go uh, and join those certain types of groups for and their lifelong oaths, their generational oaths, their generational pacts. And in a sense, anytime you sell your free will awareness or your ability to do with your consciousness what you want, and agree to say even be recycled back here or even cloned, that to me, that's just my opinion, is a form of soul selling. That's like the second way. And then when we talk about like the soul, um, people have their different definitions. Okay, spirit and soul is two different things or whatever. The soul is the individual aspects of the true essence of the self, or even the micro the micro cosmic aspect of the universe itself, or as we say, being all made in the image of God. And so I'll buy that. I'm not saying everything that I'm saying is the absolute laws. I'm just saying from looking and observing and studying this topic, like where people have been coming forward saying they have been propositioned to deal. I've been propositioned to deal. I talked about that in that video, Pan Africanism is Dead and Trusted Melanism, where I was talking about my book, but I also went into like a 4-hour tangent about my situation and the things that I had been going through. I talked about how that what happened in that hospital, and how the management came to me in the suit, like the black woman in a suit, not no doctor suit, like a you know a business suit, and asked certain questions. Presented a contract. Not she didn't present it. One of the other members presented the contract 3 times, but literally asking about how can they make, what can we do to put this on a higher, what I was doing with my work, but not the university. Totally random. Really had nothing to do with. I mean, come on. That was, and I don't really get into all of the details of that because it's already on that channel, and at that moment, I, it was still a fresh wound, and so I had spent, a cathartic moment, just really expressing what had happened. And I don't have the energy to do that right now, to retell that whole every detail of what had transpired and what had been transpiring. Well, I know that like this idea of the deals and the contract stuff, I know that that's true. And the way it's done, obviously you have this element of the crossroads and people can do it that way. But when we talk about like going through their system, there are certain strongholds that are located in whether that be the finance industries, like the literal finance firms, hospitals, um, and even very powerful institutions like that. That's real. That's I mean, even powerful. I mean, you guys know how people get even initiated into college into certain powerful groups. And so yeah, obviously I walked away. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like coming 3 times with 3 different people to sign like this long 60-page. Mind you, they telling their whole world I'm crazy. I don't know, because they was trying to hurry up and get me in a deal. They was trying to like force me to do these different hand sigils and all, because it was like, okay, she figured it out, and if we don't get her to join a part of this and be in this and whatever we and get and offer her something, she's we don't have any control. She's liable to say anything. She's liable to teach anything. She's liable, like, and so that's was the case with me. It was more so like, well, and I realized what was going on spiritually, because I was still like I was seeing too much. Like my that's what it was trying to get me to. It was injecting me with stuff to get me to close that damn pineal gland. But I was seeing like that it was deception. What it was, I knew instantly psychically what it was all about, and I'm like, nah. And plus, I had been warned by a family member, which I have the recording of that phone call. I had been warned by a family member before that had happened. I want to say a week before that happened, that I was going to be prepositioned by the devil. It's as simple as that. But when they say devil, we're talking about like the entity that can reside in that network. It's called, I'll show it here. Let's see if I can pull it up. My computer has been like so like it's like I gotta get a new computer, which I'll probably do it next week. But it's just been real. Let me just make sure that my stuff is at least playing. I want to yeah, like I'm not even gonna be able to really show, because it's like this so I had cleared out my cache, cleared out all of my storage, deleted everything, and it's still just moving like a snail. So that I think it's on its last leg, this computer. But what would I wanted to okay, that's that network. So it's a literal like computational code. Here we go. And even with NASA, but like security administration tool for analyzing network. That's not the one that I'm quite talking about. But I mean, and that could be maybe because it's more cryptic and it's not supposed to. People are not supposed to really know about it or something. Um, but pretty much a network that's part of the algorithmic code, where they could pretty much hijack that entity can hijack who's ever under oath to it, pretty much. So any human, it's kind of like that scene where Charles Xavier was jumping. Matter of fact, I don't even think I could show it, but because of the copyright stuff. But you know that in X-Men they had the scene where Charles Xavier was they were in the airport and he was jumping from he was speaking, able to take over other people's consciousness and speak through them. That was a scene in that movie. That's pretty much what that network is like. I don't know firsthand. I've had firsthand experience with that. You could literally see the same entity jumping from human to human. And again, not all humans, because not all humans are a part of that network. Not all humans are under that contract to that system. But for those that are, and say you caught up and say, maybe generationally your bloodline it was a part of that or whatever. When they get activated against you, when they upload your shit and say put her on give her the white glove treatment or put her on the blacklist or whatever it is, you'll start seeing this like the same the look in the eyes change, like it's like they mind be gone, it's like they possessed or something. And again, it's not every human, but that little network, that's like when people say, okay, they ain't had no soul, or they sold whatever, they don't have no free will. That's kind of like a definition of that, if you ask me, because I mean, it's like they don't have the ability to think, and it's different than being an NPC, because like an NPC just may not have awareness of what the hell's going on, but we talking about people who have took whatever deals or whatever they signed or whatever for whatever exchange of money, no matter how big or how low, and then some people get duped. Like there are, from what I saw spiritually in 2022, what I know for a fact is going on this planet is that there were people that got duped. They were going after people that maybe did not have any education, or were really, vulnerable, really poor, or whatever. And they was getting people to sign up for like 5 Gs, 3 Gs. We talking about a lifetime of servitude to that system, in which under which they control what you say and what you do. That's usually when you're used for to receive your money, to receive your payment through one of their Black Ops programs. Yeah, it gets deep, and they have multiple different levels of security clearances for those they even get that in that level. And we won't talk about that, but it's real. But nonetheless, that's the second way. The third way, to me, is for someone to attach themselves to entities through a blood contract. And that's when that stuff tends to follow you generationally, and in the spiritual realm, rather, and it can even jump to, like, say, the children, if that contract is not fulfilled. And so that's the third way, is for someone to attach themselves, to sign a blood contract. Now, the other contract, the second scenario, there may or may not be a blood contract involved, or a ritual, or and nothing like that, or a sacrifice. But this third one, it's a blood contract. So now we're dealing with the exchange of thermal energy, uh, the transfer of the exchange of kinetic energy. That's usually through a blood sacrifice of a family member or something, somebody that already has more higher consciousness, or a higher thermal energy. So someone that has a higher frequency usually is the one that they'll go to, the closest one. And once they sign that contract in blood or whatever, those entities demand that payment, which is that life force energy. And they have agreed to do the bidding of the person who made the contract for whatever they want or whatever they need, whether that be most of the time it's fame and fortune. Um, and they have to offer up, say it, whoever has the most kinetic energy. So whoever's in a family that has the most kinetic energy. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Oops, I just want to make sure my sound was working. And they have to offer up whoever has the most kinetic energy, and that is usually the one with the most light. So that means the one that's most gifted, the one that has the most talent, the higher heat. And sometimes it may not be a family member. Sometimes it could be a spouse. But whoever it is, that entity will seek that out. The even the imitation Kabbalists will already know who it is, and then the entities on the contract themselves will seek that out. And and then you'll see, like, the person, family member or somebody would die, and then you see them take off. That is a pattern. That is the part of the initiation, but it's also uh, pretty much a way to further the mind control through trauma, because they know what's going on. Sometimes they don't, but most of the time, people that's at that level, that's doing that, that's willing to sign in blood and all that, and still, and at that level, there's still oaths and pacts involved as well. But that could be to this system, and it can be to entities. They could even offer up maybe a newborn child or whatever. It gets deep. But that, in my opinion, is also a form of selling of the quote unquote soul. Um, because it does create chains. I never thought I would see anything like this in 2022, when I was able to just, like, see clear. I was like, it was like literally being in two worlds at once, spiritual world, or whatever that dimension I was able to see into, while still being in a physical body, still being, and I remember, like, people I was talking to on the phone who I know were being very deceptive to me and who had been deceptive to other people. I'm hearing them talking through the phone, but I'm seeing, like in the spiritual, I'm watching them, because at this time I was able to remote view stuff. I'm like, I was like literally remote viewing, and I'm seeing, like, Babylonian deity chains, like whatever it was, like slave chains on their neck, like it was spiritual, mind you, slave chains on their neck, And these were homunculus Babylonian deities. They were not high level deities. They were not primordials. They were not gods. Like these were homunculus deities that have more power than them, that had tricked them into like lifelong pacts and contracts. And these are like regular ass humans, um, that had these chains spiritually around their neck. So these, and mind you, there was like at least two people in my family that, not even my, one in my family, and then one that was like somebody that's not related to me, but I had grew up with for so long. For I knew for at least, I want to say like 19 years. And so they use their cloaking, spells and whatnot to cloak their true intentions and to mask themselves pretty well. But in August 2022, everything had failed. Like the spells, everything that it just crashed, and I could see like behind the veil of what was going on. And when I say I saw them Babylonian chains around their neck, in the spiritual realm, like they were literal slaves to these Babylonian homunculus deities, and that the part I could also see that the part of that network is related was also, how do I say, the Dracos pretty much. It also has connections with the Dracos that kind of, they're not the overlords per se, but like for that group and for them people that's a part of that took them deals and it took that's their overlords. Okay. And so it gets deep. And like I said, I have phone recordings of old ass motherfuckers in their 60s tipping me off, warning me like, you about to get a deal. They trying to, if you gotta choose between your soul and choose between the word of God and talking about the devil wants souls. And you be thinking like, what is this? Oh, at that time I ain't gonna hold you. What is this motherfucker talking about? Like, you sound crazy. Like, you know what I mean? And you be thinking that stuff is a joke, and you be thinking that, oh, you just thinking too much, or I don't know what you, and there's a difference because yes, they do a lot of fear mongering. And yes, there's people that don't understand like symbols or the ancient teachings of certain knowledges, and that not all things are the devil, not all things are demonic, but there is an element within uh this system that is totally out of alignment. And so that's what people are picking up on. So they may unfortunately throw that they say, don't throw the baby away with the bathwater. They may just they just say all of it. They don't know that certain information was stolen, bastardized, reversed engineered for really dark purposes, that there is a concerted effort to control the minds of people, what people would say, that the control the consciousness. And so while he was using a lot of religious, but the person that was trying to tip me off was just being really religious about it. I knew that there's something that spooked them, and that's why when you see a lot of the people that run out of the entertainment industry, they usually run to religion, and they just like, no, I'm done, because they see something. There is an element that is within this, that's in that occult world, that is totally left. And we're not talking about like a left hand path, like because even that information is all botched. But like we're talking about like people that are just totally sadistic, massive. They don't in their mind it's like we could do whatever we want, and we don't have to, there is no such thing as morality. There is no such thing as, you know, is do what thou wilt. Like I could do whatever I want. Now the thing is, if you violate the universal laws, or if you violate the laws of thermodynamics, or if you violate the free will of another being, there is no legal loophole out of that. There's still an energy deficit that gets created. They thought that they had created enough legal loopholes to cover themselves, especially at the end where they can get 30 years of doing a bunch of fuckery and bullshit, and then at the end decide that they want to, you know, be a Christian, or become enlightened, go get saved, or go become a Buddhist or something, a Buddhist monk or something. And it does. That's what they had been doing to kind of get out that legal loophole for all them years. And that they thought that's what they were doing. But again, energy deficits have to be filled. It's like, when we talk about like the gaps in the stock market, how 98% of gaps fill, right? That's literally like, if for those who understand the stock market, and you see the gap ups or the gaps downs, and how 98% of those gaps will always get filled. That's the same approach to the laws of thermodynamics. And when you talk about energy exchange, so when they was thinking that they can go around and blood sacrifice a bunch of people and take the inner. Like it's literally like this is how people think, and I know it's hard for us because we like because I had to it was I want to say it was a priestess in the temple of Set who just let it be known. Like I try to find more information on her, but I don't know what happened to her. They probably killed her ass. But she had made a video on YouTube where she was just talking about how like, and she was a high priestess of the Set temple, and she was just saying like people believe they could really do whatever they want. Like they can violate if they see somebody that got more whatever that they don't have, take it from them, steal it from them. So what? Ain't not gonna happen. That's how people think. And now what she did forewarn people though, because she said, okay, yeah, that may be true because we all stars or whatever, and we all got our own kinetic energy. If you need more, you go steal it from another person. If you go against, she did say this in the video though, if you go up against a motherfucker and you didn't do your due diligence, or you went after them because you was jealous or because you wanted what they had, and you go up against the wrong star, you go up against the wrong person with the wrong kinetic with the power behind a kinetic energy, and they find out that you did it, and she said that's what you get, because like some of them Satanists, they be getting such a blowback of karma and getting a motherfucking ass just tore up, and they don't be knowing why, because they be like, well, we went after someone that didn't even know who they were. They start, and it don't work that way. When we talk about like the balance of even how you transfer electrons between your kinetic energy, you can't just go and steal something. Like there's ways, like people can do transactional transfers that are fair, that are balanced, and that balance out. Like that's the thing. Like how could you create a system that's so backwards like that? So that's what they did. But that Setian priestess, she did say, if you go up against a person and they beat your motherfucking ass because you messing with them and you didn't tell them and they find out, she said that's what you get, that's what you deserve, because you went up against a motherfucker that you didn't do your research on, or you didn't care, or there were warnings, you didn't pay attention to it. And so that's how a lot of people feel. And I had spiritually seen it, this system going on in 2022. I've had dreams where you could see a person trying to hijack your consciousness in the dreams, or you could see them I've seen people trying to rip stars off of other people. And when we say a star, we talking about people's natural kinetic energy, they heat, they thermal energy, and kinetic energy is just your heat. Now, certain people have more heat than others. How do you know that's a phenomenon that exists? Just the temperature of different fires, the temperature of heat itself that can range on a degree of polarity. Something that's 50 degrees and then something that's 2,000 degrees. The thing that's 2,000 degrees is hotter than the thing that's 50 degrees, but the thing that's 2,000 degrees also has more electrons, also has a higher frequency. And so when we think about like high and low vibration, because everything is energy, that's the same thing that apply to humans. But now we're talking about the qualitative aspects of that. Now we're talking about, instead of thinking of that as fire, think of that as, okay, you're the star, you have a certain amount of temperature and fire. Now we get esoterically and interdimensional, and they're saying somebody that has a lower frequency, they miserable, they may not have a lot of confidence, they only know how to get the energy from copying other people or stealing from other people, or stealing, like we talk about energy vampire or whatever, that's real. And so say somebody got a 2,000 heat, 1,000 hertz. Now we talking about, let's get into hertz. 1,000 hertz frequency. Somebody has a bunch of gifts. They could sing. They could play 20 instruments. They got good looks. They're sweet. They're likable. They're charismatic, and they got a 1,000 hertz frequency. And then say you got a person that may have sold, took a deal, took a contract, whatever. They only got 100 hertz frequency because they're constantly in fear, constantly looking over their shoulder, in drugs and whatever. They see somebody with that 1,000 hertz frequency, and that person don't know about the occult, don't know about Satanism, don't know about ritual, ceremonial magic, don't know about covens, don't know about shit. And they see that person running around and say they may want to get in the industry, don't know nothing about the industry, or they may want to, hang around somebody who they think is a celebrity or think is popular or whatever. And that person may be more popular you in the matrix, but in the galaxy, in the universal systems, no. And so you may not know that. You come around them thinking that, okay, and they all the while plotting on your ass to set you up. They done activated the matrix network that they are part of, whether that be a secret society, whether that be whatever oath or whatever they working behind the scenes with entities, and they want to beat your ass and take that star right off of you. Yep. They want to take that star right off of you, and you'll see the person either get sacrificed in consciousness, which means they'll set you up to get you locked up, or they can sacrifice you in death, or sacrifice you in identity. And they'll do this is what they do. And see, they already sold, so they need more kinetic energy. If you sell your kinetic energy, do you have to go get more kinetic energy? That's just how that works. I don't get involved with that. You guys know I don't play that. But I'm just telling you, telling people that's what they do. And so they got to go and bring someone else. And you see somebody like a Nipsey Hussle or somebody like a Aaliyah, somebody with so much light and so much, just star prana, and you'll just see, or you'll see people who are 1,000 times more talented, 1,000 times more gifted. You'll see them get shadow banned or not put in the algorithm, and then you see somebody that has very minimum talent, go up. Like you'll see, like, there's people that can really sing, like, say they have amazing voices, they do all they can sing so good, but then they'll give a record deal to a Sexy Red. But then you have, like, say, the black girl who could sing 1,000 times better. They won't get nothing because she won't play the game. She won't play the deal, and maybe she has protection on her, ancestral protection. So even if they try to steal that star, it still won't come off. So people can try to steal people's destiny or try to swipe stuff, and it won't happen. It won't come off for them. And that's usually those people when they say, "Oh shit, just financially blacklist them and shadow ban them." Those are the people that get blacklisted and shadow banned, because for when they're protected, that's a good thing. They can't be killed. And you can't really steal their star for them. So then you have to make sure that nobody else pays attention to that star. And so that happens to a lot of people all the time. You see a bunch of amazing teachers on whether that be on YouTube or whatever. You'll see things. You'll see how certain influencers get buried, and then other influencers that don't have sauce or don't even have, like, natural talent. You see them copying the other people, that the smaller people, trying to steal from them, and it happens. That's what. So we're talking about a satanic system where people willingly sell their souls to this system, whether that be through selling their free will awareness to be a part of their mind control system, literally through a blood contract which requires sacrifice, and it also requires that they give up their kinetic energy as well. That is probably the worst deal, because even it's the hardest one to get out of as well. And then the first one is when you're just selling your influence to lead people astray, but you may have not necessarily did a blood contract, or you may not have necessarily done dealing with entities, or you did not join a secret society, or you just are selling your influence to lead people astray. Maybe you're in a pretty fair contract, or maybe you're just in an agreement or a statement of work situation. And so that one probably is obviously the easiest one to get out of. You just have to stop stop selling your influence to lead people astray. Just do the right, do what you really want to do in your soul, or even what's in alignment with the universe. The second one, selling your free will through the contract awareness, that one usually requires there's blood in, blood out. So if you want to break the oath, there's severe consequences. There will be no more money. You will be killed, or your family members could be killed. And if you can't, because you're so powerful, because maybe you have some powerful protection on the spiritual side, any crimes that you have done will come out. They will blast your ass. Any crimes, and you most likely did the crimes. Just like that's the situation was happening with P. Diddy. His contract is up. He didn't want to renew it. I think they would have renewed it, but he doesn't want to play ball anymore. And he thought that, we turn now to see the situation with P. Diddy. He's playing a murder reality game. They're playing like 10D chess with the big boys, Billionaires Boy Club, and you got to think of chess moves. So he thought, he knew with the Diageo case, believe it or not, P. Diddy's contract overall was already going to be up. So he felt like, oh, I can hit the jackpot, because I know that I can go for a race and sue Diageo boys on a race and win. He actually did win. Chess move. Okay, I can win, and now my contract's about to be ended, so they're going to take back some of those things anyways. But at least I literally won this huge lawsuit, right? I won this huge lawsuit and proved that there was racism. Mind you, he worked with all these people. He knew he was a part of a system. He was goat, Satan, occultist, all that shit. Sacrifice whoever he had to sacrifice fuck whoever you got to fuck, do whatever you got to do to get to the top. He was playing that game with them. Murder reality game. Whoever he had to give up, it happened. He didn't care. Towards the end, though, he started to care. Towards the end, he had to think of what kind of chess move could he make to, because honestly, you get a 30-year run or with 20-year run, 40-year run, either kill you or they take back their wealth. And that is a part of the deal, and they know that going in. You can build wealth outside of their system and you can keep it. And there are Black Americans that generationally have been passing off their wealth for hundreds of years because they stayed out of their system and they knew how to generate their own wealth through their own talents and merits, not taking a shortcut. It took longer, it's more grueling, but they can pass that down. Nobody can come and take that away from them. But in a situation with P. Diddy, yeah, you could become targeted or whatever. He's not targeted at all. It's just, his game of chess. He lost his game of chess, literally, quite literally. You can look at the book Murder of Reality by Pierre Sebeck to know, like, this is how this is the game that the celebrities play. Like, this is the game in Hollywood that's being played. And so when it comes to like the situation with Diddy, contract was already going to be up anyways. He knew that, and so it's like, okay, they gonna be I'm gonna sue these motherfuckers because again, we all know who Diageo has ties with, got ties to who, is in partnerships with who. Yeah, so obviously these are the big wigs. Now he's literally dealing with, and there's even higher levels to that, because then now we got to understand then who is the company that is in combat with Diageo. And I'm being careful saying certain names because they have cut me on the ear the last time I said their name, and my channel had got terminated the next day, and then they said it was an accident and apologized. So I already know that they was fucking with me, but so I'm not even going to say certain names. But that entity has to answer to all octaves of Saturn, including the homunculus deities, or whoever it falls under that trinity. And so that entity that's overseeing that $1 trillion company, who also was in bed with Diageo, who Piddy was like, now they all just they are just following the master's plan or whatever. And so even though that company has to honor all octaves of Saturn, now they weren't, and they were only dealing with the lowest octave, which is the satanic one. It's about Saturn's cube. And to be honest, the lowest octave of Saturn, the lowest, that's where you deal with the receptacle of the waste that humans dump on Saturn, the projections, the bullshit. It's bullshit. And that's why it's being regurgitated back to humanity. That's why you see all these collapses of the matrix, because Saturn's like, I'm just fucking done. Like, take your shit and transmute your own shit. But, however, those entities still exist, and they're still in that contract, and they still on Diddy's head. We're talking about like hellhounds. And so, what even if Diddy, I know humans, they see it as, okay, that Diageo in it, but it is much deeper. There's a spiritual component of that. His 30-year reign was up. He thought, that's why they tell you, never make a deal with the devil because you will not win. He thought, I outsmarted, sue these motherfuckers for racism, and because he had a case. He he was going to win. He did win. But what do they got? 30 years of blackmail, 30 years of things that they know that he has done. And like, even when he had a chance to just be a good, decent person, say people live Jekyll and Hyde, like what's it called, Jekyll and where you see that the two split personalities, where they're just two different people, one in the public and then one behind the scenes. He wasn't even like a good person in a public eye. Like they're like, none of his artists, nobody would vouch for him. Like, we've been hearing this stuff for 10, 20 years. So even when he had the chance to do good by people, he just didn't. Like, when he had a chance to do good by certain artists, when he had a chance to look out for people, for his community, he just didn't. So this is just a fucked up person. And so they know that. So they can capitalize on the fact that his reputation was fucked up, that the streets had already charged into the game, that the hood had already charged him with murder of Tupac, had already charged him, like, we don't fuck with you, what you did, booty bandit, I'm telling you, like, the average Black American had heard all this shit about these. So he don't really have that kind of back. It's not like he ain't no motherfucking Malcolm X. He ain't no motherfucking Darren Seal. So ain't nobody about to really ride for him like that, because they already know he's a sellout. And 3 people already said he's an agent. And again, working for the government in itself is nothing wrong with that. But working for the government to sell people out is. And that's what, if you're an informant and you're going around selling people out because you're a part of that satanic secret society network, that to me is deplorable in my eyes. So me personally, just off the strength of that alone and knowing what happened to Tupac is enough for I'm not supporting it. I don't care what anybody say because I already know that this is 1,000 times deeper and that it goes into the occult. And so I don't allow anybody to manipulate the white supremacy and the man and all that stuff to try to hoodwink me into support to giving kinetic energy to a person I know doesn't deserve it. And P Diddy is looking for a kinetic energy, you know, uh, and the little bit of he can harness from the obviously the masses. How you harness kinetic energy is also how people give you their power in terms of how they're going to support you, what they're going to pay attention to, are they going to defend you? That's also a way to build just your kinetic energy up. And so that's why they send in like all these pro-black people out, pro-black controlled opposition people out that are also a part of that satanic oath secret society system or that work with him to try to convince a random innocent black Americans that have nothing to do with that system at all to defend him. And that's that in that way they transfer their kinetic energy over to Diddy and he gets more power. And that's why they keep coming like every 3 days begging black Americans to speak out for P. Diddy, to defend P. Diddy against the white man and all this stuff, sounding literally crazy, like ignoring, literally lying at this point. Like this person has that literally, like I know black Americans have literally like told like at least 10 to, I've caught them in 10 to 15 lies to their own, to other black Americans that innocently are unaware or unfortunately not, not going to research it for themselves, all for the sake of trying to harness that energy. See, they can't see that they're someone is trying to assert a psychotronic spell in them. They can't see that. I can see that spiritually, and I'm like, oh hell no. But in a situation with Diddy, when we talk about like the chess game, this is the part of the murder reality. His chess game was to do that, to sue Diageo and win, and believe it or not, like I know people don't think like a black person could have that amount of power. A black person could be over people because of what your programming is, but in their society, it's not ran the same as the public society. It's not ran the same. And so if you have somebody of a certain bloodline or of a certain kinetic energy, it don't matter if you should see like the level of power, even say like a Barack Obama would have within their network, or even say like a Jim Clyburn, or even like you guys are not, you people are still hung up on that race stuff. And at that level, it becomes irrelevant. And so someone like a P. Diddy, he really did think he was over the Diageo boys. Spiritually, he probably was, and then he's melanated. He's probably thinking he got melanin or whatever. Then he also probably went and thought he had protection with certain entities that could protect him against that. But here's the thing. The deficits from the highest octaves of Saturn are also demanding payback, are also demanding a payment. So that means like all of the artists he has sacrificed, all of the people he has stolen from, all of the people that he has hurt, they families, they bloodlines, their spirits, they still want payback, and so whatever rituals he was doing, it might have worked against the Diageo, but it may not work against, say, Tupac's ancestors or whoever else he had screwed over, or Black Rob's ancestors, or whoever decided to piss him off, or even the people that was in connection with him that pissed another person off, that decided to just blow off the whole motherfucking the keg off this release the Kraken on the whole system for fucking with him. And so Diddy didn't even think about all those things, about all those chess moves. And so Diageo is aware of that. I won't even say Diageo, but even the spirits behind the company that backs that's higher than Diageo, the company that controls the trillions of dollars, and then the Saturn's cube that governs them. And they're gonna be making some changes too. Mm-hmm. And I ain't got no beef. I ain't got no beef with nobody. I'm just saying everything is changing. So you'll start to see some things that they've been getting their money off of funding wars. You're gonna see them get money up another way because they have to deal with all octaves of Saturn and not just the lowest octaves. The lowest octave of Saturn, which is also a very huge misconception, is more so of this karmic sludge, like it's not even a primordial soup. It's a human waste soup, or soup of where people try to dump into Saturn, like this receptacle. But that's just one octave. That's not the entire planet of Saturn. Are you kidding me? And so Saturn had been allowing that, recording for its own intelligence purposes, its own intel, like observing, like, okay, what are they doing? Like, why did they think that? Why are they doing these type of scenarios and these type sort of rituals? And why are they misinterpreting this? Like, it's just more so observing. And then it's like, okay, we're done with that. We see, maybe you guys misinterpreted information, lied to. We see who lied. We see it was pretty much doing an investigation to see what's going on planet Earth. But now they have to. The other octaves of Saturn are now activated, and they're being. And it's like, okay, you want to work with Saturn, now you have to work. You cannot dump anything over to the lowest octave. That is being transmuted. Humans have to transmute their own shit, even if you were part of some secret society, Saturn cult, whatever. You still have to transmute your own shit, and you have to learn pretty much. And so P Diddy, unfortunately, those entities from the lowest octave of Saturn, they still want his head, and so it's way bigger than the Diageo thing. Now in the human level, the humans would say, "Oh, that's just retaliation from what he from for him pissing off them billionaires." Yeah, that's the simple way to look at it, and that's enough. That's not that's true. You could look at it like that, but just know that it's much deeper. Just know that it's much deeper. And so in his situation, I think he is trying to break out of things and get out of contracts and whatnot. The one contract has already ended, but we talking about how it's like pick your poison. Either they gonna knock you off and they don't want to release him because he probably don't figured out a legal loophole to get out of it, and so that's why they got him in that stronghold, which is was it a detention center? I don't think I think he's in the jail right in New York City. They have him under that stronghold because they're not ready to release him, and they want to squeeze whatever little kinetic energy that he does have, and he does have some still. And they also, and a part of it is monitoring as we shift the whole frequency, because he is a principality that's caused a lot of damage and will continue to cause a lot of damage, if not otherwise. And so there are people, I say this to say there are people who amass a certain level of power by the bartering of other people's souls that will that are their job is to find people to put into contracts. Their job is to find people to do exactly what they did. They have to feed. That's how you feed the beast. That's how you keep. That is the way the algorithmic computational code of that matrix, of that vector space, was programmed, or reverse engineered to be programmed. It was not originally like that. But obviously, when people talk about like the hijacking of systems, the fall of civilizations, and the knowledge that was stolen from the fall of powerful civilizations, and who sold out their own civilizations and sold out other people's birthrights, maybe whether that be the tribe of Judah, different tribes of Israel, what different tribe, melanated people, whatever. Yes, there were, say, certain royal nobility that were melanated that had no problem selling out their rival melanated royal family, royal blood, whatever, a royal tribe, whether that have been in the Americas, Africa, North and South America, as well as in Africa or in the Caribbean. Like that's it's well documented. Like it's well documented. And we all talk about like, okay, we already know that tribes are selling other tribes out and stuff, but we're talking about the nobility level that this stuff was going on, because now we're talking about royal bloodlines who have access to the occult sciences and know how to steal birthrights and bind families and bind ancestors and all that stuff. They were doing all of that, and then obviously the result on the 3D realm was slave trades, various slave trades, and swiping of identity, and swiping these people that were originally Hebrews are now Negroes, and then these people that were Khazars are now have somebody else's identity. Like this stuff is real, and so all that stuff is coming ahead now. But yes, there are people that once they're in them contracts and once they're in them deals or in them secret societies, they got to go and find other people, and they get a reward. Sometimes that's how they can even move up. So trust me, they gonna do it. And this is how people were surrounding me with that, because they realized, okay, this is a source player, free soul, and we got to get her in a contract. Like I'm telling you, like I would say 6, and sometimes it is through an NDA, but you got to read those NDAs, because sometimes you think you sign in a simple NDA. It is much deeper. People could put anything and stuff now, and so you have to be careful. And I had took a class on contract law at Columbia University. It was it was technology management and law and information, but we still had to read contracts. And I remember like we're looking at stuff like different types of contracts, and it was like, I mean, the people that were teaching the class were obviously lawyers. And I remember we looking at stuff and like, why would you put that in there at this section? It wasn't even like I mean, there are different there's different types of contracts. You have NDAs, you have uh, confidentiality agreements. You have all types of you have statement of work and all types. But when we were looking at certain stuff as it relates to technology management into business, we would notice like certain things that was just deceptive and different parts of contracts that had nothing to do with the scope of work. And I remember the lawyer said they can do that. If you didn't read it, or if you didn't understand it, or you thought you was just signing a simple NDA, that which means don't open your mouth. No, 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 no. You better read that shit because it could be a simple NDA, but it can be something that can, like what I remember a person in the reparation space that was trying to get me to sign a contract 3 times, and I fully read it, but it was like I would have been giving them permission to be able to spy on me for the rest of my life, even though it was just like an NDA, but it was like the way it was worded, and I still have the contract by the way. Come to find out, I'm on their Instagram. I'm looking at their Instagram, and I'm finding out they at somebody's house who has who's celebrating with them. This is their friend, and this person is a public figure who has access to the NSA top level security clearance. So this guy had worked for the NSA, all in the entertainment industry, mind you. And so that's her. That's they. So we know this person got ties to the NSA, but why are in the fuck they in a reparation space? That's one thing. But then why are they at this NDA that they wanted me to sign, or whatever this paperwork was that they wanted me to sign? Even though it was agreeing to a background check, it was no finality until like it was like literally like you're giving me permission to like spy on you. And I guess because like that was the way the trickery it was more so like, okay, well, you didn't read it and you signed it. I had there's no end date. So this could be in perpetuity. And I had said that, I said, I'm not signing that. It could be something that's in perpetuity. And then I'm not going to hold you. And I had to be fair. And, she did say, well, why don't you just change it? Like if you don't change it to what you want, because I really want to work with you and change it to what you want. But I still did. It just wasn't, I did not feel comfortable. I did not feel comfortable. And so I didn't, though I probably could have just changed it. I guess they had understood, because this was like 3 times they had came to, and I think they realized that this person understands contract law, and obviously the esoteric aspects behind the contract behind the contract, or what something couldn't be implied, and I'm not gonna be able to get away with, But that was pretty much it, like, okay. I'm like, nah, I'm good on that. But when you have all these different types of contracts. You have an employment agreement, you have non-compete agreements. So even in the non-compete agreement, you thinking you just signing something. I have seen non-compete agreements literally put just random shit that had nothing to do with the work or nothing to do, but it was deceptive. I even seen this was like I want to say it wasn't a time and materials contract. I want to say it was a cost contract or something where it was this is a bunch. I said I wanted to get paid, and they had agreed to it on the phone, right? They said, okay, I'll pay you that amount. That's fair. That's fair. But then the contract, the amount that I said was on there. But when you start to really look, it's like towards the end of the page, literally the last page, it was like the final cost, the way they had did it. All I know is the shit said 0. Pretty much I wouldn't be getting nothing. Even though it was saying, like, and I have this contract to this day, like I have it. And I had said that. I emailed it back because I'm not signing it. The way that this is worded, I had literally the specific clauses that I did not agree to. I said, I'm not agreeing to that. I don't agree to that. I don't agree to that. And then the last clause, I said, yeah, I added the math up. This math that these numbers, because at first, if you just see your number that's they saying they're willing to pay you, you're like, okay, yeah, I'll jump on it. And this was in 2018. And again, I still have all these emails. It's not like I'm just making this shit up. I'll never put any of these people on blast, whatever. But it is what it is. This is how people get down. And it's so normal, like nobody cares. It's not like I'm waking up something new. Like it's like everybody knows this stuff. And so at the end of the page, the way the calculation, I calculated everything. And I'm like, this is adding up to 0. Like it was like this would cost this. And I'm just like, and then they even on the bottom line, it said how much you would be paid. And then it just said 0. So it was like trickery. Now, if I would have signed that, it would have been done. I would have been obligated to do all that work for free. Literally, I would have had to be a slave. And see, I caught it. And I said, no. And I know they knew it was a lost opportunity because they were trying to take advantage of my brilliance and genius and whatnot. And it didn't work. And I'm pretty sure they probably was like, man, I mean, if they would have just offered something fair, we could have just all made got something done, and it would have been just fair. But I'm not that. I'm not a type of. I'm not thirsty, and I had to turn down that money. I had to turn down that money, and it was, and that would have been some money to pay my rent for the next couple of months, or I would say even more than a couple of months. At least about 5 months of rent, But I'm like, that ain't nothing. Like, you have to walk away, and see, people will know if if you're dealing with financial blacklisting. Now, I have been for like 10 to 15 years. They will already know that, because these are people that are way older than you, that have more experience. And we talking about people that got clearance securities, and we talking about people that's tied to, connected to people that, whatever, even just the situation I know. So they already know your situation. They already know you hurt, and they already know. And they thinking, okay, whatever, but they'll still get your ass. These people don't care about fairness and what all that stuff. They don't think like that. And it's fucked up. And I walked away from that. And I had talked with like two people too, and I said, I sent it to one of my friends, and she was like, "That ain't even worth, even the amount you asked for ain't even worth signing that. Even if you were gonna get that fair amount, like even if she was really gonna pay you that, still wasn't even worth signing that. Like, I would, and I'm telling you, I'm not one of those. If I see anything that say in perpetuity, materials, you agree the irrevocable, you give us a worldwide, throughout all time and space, universal in perpetuity access to your materials to do what we wanted to exploit. Once I start seeing stuff like that, it's an instant no. You wouldn't believe the. I remember, I just had to walk away, from like what we thought would be like a little. It was independent contract work, so I wouldn't have been an employee, but it was still like independent. I would pick my own schedule, whatnot. And but it was like this contract that they gave me. They literally just put stuff in it that had nothing to do with the work. Nothing, like, it was totally unnecessary, totally exploitative. And I think that because they knew who I was, it was like, well, did we already know this is a free soul? So they're looking for some way to get me binded up into their bullshit. I saw it. I said, I just didn't sign. I didn't even respond back. They emailed me, said, "Why? Hey, you don't want the work anymore. You don't want the position anymore." I'm not signing that, and I don't care I don't care what I'm walking away from. I don't think I don't, To me, that stuff feel like slavery. Like, even approaching me like that, like it evokes a raw a, a raw primordial response from my spirits that's attached to me, from my ancestors. It's like it's not. And I'm telling you, I've seen people try to even come with me with that, and you could see like they hands shaking, like when they had a contract, hands be shaking, they be looking nervous as hell because they already know I'll shapeshift on your motherfucking ass. And if you think I'm making this up, they had me restricted access area when they come with all this bullshit. And that video that I told you about, that 5 hour long video where I expressed everything that had happened with the deal, that was in a restricted access. I talked with a person who's also like he's a high priest, and I said, well, why they had me in a restricted access area, strapped down, all like that? And they come in with and you could feel like they shaking, they looking all scared. And I remember that person told me, he said that's because, and I didn't even know about no shapeshift and stuff, but he was like, they ain't want your ass to shapeshift on them. They ain't want you to shapeshift. And this person, one of them people that's in the music industry, I'll just say that. Yes, it was funny that he said that. But I'll never forget that, because I was thinking, like, why would they have? I mean, like, my soul just can't handle no, like, that's just me though. I don't project what I believe on what anybody else is doing or what anybody else get into, because again, there's legal loopholes out of stuff. People figure that out, like a Michael Jackson. He got in his situation was totally illegal because he was born into that. And so if you were born into that, that's obviously one way you'll get out. You already pretty much got a free out of jail pass if you decide to just walk away. If you were born into it, you say your family sold you out, you sold it, you was under MK Ultra, and you got put into that. You was born into a satanic bloodline or a Masonic bloodline, and you was put in that. If you decide to walk away, you can get a pass out, but you have to walk away. You can't dance with the devil and deal with it, and then wrap yourself up all of it and still think that you can get out. But if you you become into that awareness, and the path is there for you to do something else, and as far as gaining your freedom and have complete autonomy and complete freedom, and you decide to walk away, then that is a possibility. But you have to understand that what's an illusion, and what it means to you to be already a star, that you're already a star, that you're already enough, that you already have infinite kinetic energy, that you're already connected to the source of creation or creator God, however you want to look at it, and you don't need validation of systems. You don't need to sell your influence. You don't need to, like you have to already have all that awareness. You have to realize when something is a trick of the light, when something is playing with your optics, when something is an illusion. The matrix is an illusion, and so people who have developed awareness of that, they have a contentment in other ways. And so once you develop that contentment in your life, you pretty much solve 50% of life problems. If you are contentment with the way you look, the way you talk, contentment with every aspect of your soul, the way you dress, everything that's about you. You ain't looking for nobody's approval. You ain't looking for nobody's validation. You ain't trying to look to stand next to people you think got clout, or you're not trying to, put on airs or thinking that money gives you value. If you're already content, your soul is being filled. You pretty much have evolved your soul like 50%, half of the way of what you was probably put here to do or what you wanted to do. Now you can really focus on your dreams and your goals and your aspirations and develop discernment of who's trying to deceive you or who's trying to deter you from your goals, who's trying to distract you, and so my thing is when people be thinking something is a simple little contract or it's just this and that, you want to just read it. I'm not saying don't, because a lot of this work, especially if it's your independent contract or say it's a phone bill, internet service for the year or whatever. I'm not saying don't sign it, but I'm just saying read it. If it don't make sense, get you a law dictionary, start looking up stuff, what it means in law. Get a lawyer if you can. Um, or and if it is better to be safe than sorry. If you don't understand something, just don't sign it, no matter what's on the table, no matter what's being offered, or demand something simple. Like that's another thing that we have to do is say, what you put in this 30-page shit, only it can be drawn up in 2 pages. And if you can't somewhat what you got to say in 2 to 3 pages, then you're doing some sherm shit. And I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to deal in them type of situations. And so another thing you guys want to pay attention to is the terms and services of these AI platforms or anything that offers AI in terms of services of the social media networks. That's the only thing that I'm noticing that's they start because there's so many people that's aware of the wickedness in a lot of these industries or the things you got to do to get put on. There are people that are aware that you don't take deals, that you don't take oaths. And, so many humans are awakening to that now, that now they're trying to creep it into your terms of services, particularly with your AI stuff. Where if you upload in your voice, where you're uploading all your pictures and stuff, they're talking about like, this irrevocable right to use to exploit your materials into whatever form we fit without compensation. If we want to use a picture that you made, or we want to, you gave us an idea about you, now we want to be able to exploit this idea and build upon it, even though it came from you, they will not pay you. So you want to be careful what you put in that AI prompts and shit. What kind of like when they say that they could upload your avatar to the AI or whatever. They can now make an avatar of you talking, and you don't have to actually be on camera anymore. It will look like you, talk like you, and people really think that it's you, but it'd be your avatar. You just feed it the text script and they'll read it. You can make a whole YouTube video like that. This is what people are. There are services that offer this now. I've seen it. But then when you look at them terms of services, you have to be careful because you don't want to be uploading a digital blueprint of your likeness, and so that's what I would say, because now they realize that a lot of humans know they're awakening. A lot of humans are realizing they are a star, that they have kinetic energy. They have, when we say heat, they already have heat, excuse me. And then the way to increase that heat is to raise their frequency with higher vibrations. That doesn't necessarily mean don't defend yourself. I ain't saying don't be a pacifist. Like if somebody disrespects you or somebody get at you, you fight back. But as far as like walking in love, walking in truth, like speaking truth is one of the best ways to raise your vibration. Being authentic, being your unadulterated self, been loving yourself and wanting to see the best for other motherfuckers, like those are ways where you start to raise your frequency higher. See, a lot of humans are awakening, realizing like they want to feel good. They want to know more about, Christ consciousness, bliss consciousness, enlightenment, whatever it is, the ascension. And so people are moving into all of these things. That's when we talk about the new earth, the 3D, 5D split, which is way more intricate than that, but that's where people are at. That's where people are at. But the collapse of the matrix, because the vibration is rising too high and it's exposing the illusion, it's exposing the lies. And so that's the day that we are in. And so they know that, and so now you're going to see desperate attempts, you're going to see crazy stuff, you're going to see violations of even universal rights and human rights at the last days, because they're freaking out. It's like, damn, like, how do we get, you know, that you see they blowing up labs and stuff, and whatever they could do to inconvenience people. They only giving people that was affected by that hurricane $750. They telling people don't even help them. You know, it's like, it's a lot going on. They constantly want people in the fear vibration. They want to fear monger you. They come out with a fake pandemic and all this stuff. Whatever they got to do, they get people back in that bubble to bring people back into the fold of their vector space. Because now people are creating their own vector spaces, or that don't have the awareness of how to create the vector space. They're trying to learn, or they're going to somebody that they can trust and they'll observe. They're not fully trusting them or just following them blindly, but they're listening to see what they got to say and say, okay, if they say they know how to create a vector space or a parallel universe, let's see what they're talking about. And I'll try to even add on and see my own thing. And see, this is what humans are doing. People are tuning into the spirits that's on a bloodline. They're researching things. They are honoring their ancestors or their gods, that stuff that's in their bloodline, the pacts and covenants that's in their bloodline. And they saying, you know what, we don't really need to deal with a matrix system, or why do we need to pay for food? Why do we need to work for money? Like, why do we need to pay for shelter? I should be able to just go get a tree and make an A-frame shelter, you know, a little tiny home. But now they got all these, you got to pay taxes on everything. There are so many humans asking, like, why I got to pay income taxes, federal taxes. I buy food, I got to pay taxes on it. I work at my job, I got to pay, they got to pay taxes out of the money that they get from their paycheck. They got to pay taxes on their phone bill. They pay taxes. Like, people are starting to realize, like, though, this is some satanic ass bullshit. Like, y'all are robbing people. Like, you got to pay taxes on every little dollar you earn. If you buy a house, you got to pay taxes on the land that you bought. Like, people are starting to like this shit is crazy. So when people's collective mindset pulls out of a matrix, that's how you cause it to collapse. Now, there are certain individuals that are the galaxy in human form. Just like every human is a star, there are certain humans that are a galaxy or a constellation or a supernova or a motherfucking planet like Saturn or something, literally straight in human form. And they got the power that the kinetic energy of, say, like 1,000 stars or something, which would be like a million humans or something. And if they want to just shut down somebody's stuff or collapse a matrix, they can single-handedly do it, even with a small team. A team of 300, team of 400, 1,000 people can be enough to collapse a sector of a vector space. A sector of the vector space, say in the matrix, would be like, say, what you see, the collapse of the entertainment industry and the exposure to corruption in politics. You know, those are sectors of the vector space that's being collapsed, and people, and there are full hostile takeovers of computational algorithms of certain matrices within this system. And so you're going to see more and more and more of that. 2025 is the complete reckoning. It's the complete reckoning. And so what I want to do, though, is show, like, when we talk about, like, the eyes are the windows to the soul. For one, it's like, well, if somebody say that they in that, what can they do to get out of that? And in that folder, that free Google Drive, my Google Drive, if you guys want, I'm going to give you a spiritual modality and a physical modality. The physical modality is, there is a withdrawal of consent. It's a declaration of withdrawal of the consent of all contracts known and unknown. That is in that file. It's freely available. Matter of fact, I'll attach it to here, because I actually renew mine every year, just in case, you know, these terms of service stuff is getting crazy. So you want to be careful that you don't even be deceived and when you agree to even the terms of service, because now they literally saying that all terms of services are now a contract. Now that is crazy. A terms of service is not a fucking contract. Like, Facetunes changed their terms of service, and I had to delete it off of my app. Now I love little Facetunes. I add little, you know, how you can fix your makeup and all that stuff. But I haven't been able to use them for months because they changed their terms of service. So when I looked at it and it said you are now entering a contract, and I read they talk about likeness and materials, goodbye, and irrevocable license and all that. Nope, that's wrong. Because they didn't have that in their contract before. See, that's how desperate they getting, and they know people like them little filter or whatever, and they know people like these little AI things and shit. And so that's how they're gonna get you, because people just want to, you know, move on with that's the new way of trapping motherfuckers. And so I'm trying to tell people to be aware of that. Let me see if I could, because I do know this withdraw, this withdrawal of a declaration is deep. We're not going to, I could probably show, yeah, I'll be able to show a little bit of it. But this folder right here, I'm just waiting. Good, my computer is so slow now. Man, I don't know what happened to this thing. I don't know what happened to this thing. But still waiting for it to load, guys. Oh, I gotta get a new computer ASAP. This is totally ridiculous. But yeah, that withdrawal of consent, it is pretty much revoking access to your energy marker throughout all times and space, throughout all. Yet you revoke anyone siphon off your energy for any reasons. We're about to look at it together. Actually, okay, did it load? Okay, this is still loading. I'm telling you, this is diabolical. This is diabolical. I can't sit through here through this. You know what I mean? Let me make sure that my sound is good. But this is the folder. It is the first access to this folder is in a link of my Twitter page. The first pin is a pin tweet. You know, when you get a pin tweet, it's the first thing you see when you click on someone's profile. That'll lead you to this folder. And within this folder, there's all of my esoteric teachings. But here is an important one. This is called a, now this is freely available. I encourage everybody to look through it. You know, as far as like, I ain't asking for nobody to sign or nothing like that. It's just more so like this is something that I use, and I'm telling you, when I got through reading this, the house was motherfucking shaking. Like the house was shaking. That's just like when that actor that played in what was that actor that played in Baps, the brown skin girl that played in Baps was Holly Berry, and it was her home girl, and it was that actor. Remember when she said when the earth started shaking behind her, like she was in a contract that was like life soul binding or whatever. It was renewing perpetuity. If she didn't run out of that with her lawyer, she did, the interview was on YouTube where she said when she got, I need to wake up, like she said when she got out of that contract, she said the earth started shaking. The earth started shaking, and so it's deep. And and that's how it was like when after and you put your name. Not this is my name, but this already structures that I terminate all contracts of agreements concluded by third parties relating myself and with return our liabilities and karmic implications to the contracting parties on all levels, dimensions, times, and timelessness. So obviously this is intricate. That's messing with your atoms, your DNA cells, your etheric essences, your fragments, as the entire universe that I am. See, this is mentioning that you are a star, that you are a universe, you know, on all levels, dimensions, time, cycles of time, present and future, and all levels of existence. Okay, so this is a heavy duty shit. This is heavy duty stuff. You're talking about the monetization, the buying and selling and owning of unique personal markers, the harvesting of energy. Like it goes deep. And so I you know, this is one way. This is the physical way. Now you can add something in here. You can change this thing however you want to do it. But you see in this, I withdraw consent. This does do quite a bit, but you got to be serious about it. Don't go messing with this stuff if you know good and hell well you're not ready. You think more money from whatever they offered you. You think you're gonna sue and win like a P Diddy and get yourself out. No, that ain't how this. You really are walking away. No matter the consequences, if they make it, that even may that maybe even mean your death. But you just know that you want out. Like you just want out. You want to be free. So not for sale. You want to be completely free. And so this is one of them. Now on the spiritual side, and again, let me see if I can. This link is freely available. Let me because sometimes that like they literally like People have to are still like requesting on Google access to behind the scenes and restrict grant access to people. So this one didn't do that. So this one is still available. But I'm telling you, like I'm looking like I made this unrestricted. Like this was for anybody but the link. And so, but that's how serious they are about keeping people blind. Like they don't want people with this information. And so at one point in time in space may want to use that resource. But then on the spiritual side, when we talk about wholeness and integration from mamas and from all times and space and dimensions, wherever it may be, whoever may have you be talking about the breaking of all forms of mind control, the breaking of all spell casting, the breaking of all free will. When we talk about whole and balance, now we getting into there's various spiritual modalities you can use. For me, I'll just talk about from my experience. We want to talk about getting in tune with the primordial, like what is the energy that can create absolute wholeness and that can integrate and give you that free canvas of your soul as when you was a baby. That would be a primordial, the Holy Spirit, like something that is whole. That's something we talk about Holy Spirit, whole. This idea of balance and complete integration of all fragmentations of the mind. Because honestly, if someone's in these type of deals or whatever, they most likely have fragmentation of the mind, possibly some forms of entities attached to them, some forms of not just entities attached to them, but split personalities, all types of shit, alters, all of that. That all has to be integrated into a whole being that is 100% you, but also understanding which archetypes and dimensions. Because again, when we talk about the ability to harness the power of archetypes or dimensions, that's all the entity is. The entity is an archetype of a resonance in density and dimension. So that's what you can use to create a vector space. And so you have to know what entities are attached. So most people don't even know what entities are attached to them. So I'm not saying like, oh, people get rid of their entities or whatever, or their spirits is attached to them. But we talking about if you're in that industry or you got involved in some dark shit, and you got homunculus deities on you or Babylonian Luciferian deities on you, that are homunculus, then you may want to go to the more primordial aspects of the more of that pole of creation energy to balance out all of the. For one, you can either get rid of all of to draw out all of it, low governing force entities. You want all low governing force entities out of the body, and so that is a simple. People we talk about being filled with that Holy Spirit. That's the simple way to do it. Obviously, you can play Rukia to drive out entities from certain that's on contracts that may try to attach themselves to you. There's Rukia. There's Aramaic prayer. There's obviously mindfulness meditation. We call it Vipassana meditation. That's more of that's a Theravada Buddhism practice. Now that's where that type of meditations that also balances out any archetypes that try to go against yourself. Because when people put entities on someone through them contracts and through sex magic and all that, and through the lifestyle, say in the industry, those entities are designed to drain your life force, but usually to get you to go against yourself, to develop bad habits. So you see a lot of people with drug addiction and alcoholism and all that stuff. Those are entities. Now you also have good entities too. You can't have one or the other. So that's why I'm not against. That's why I don't tell people to get rid of their entities or whatever, because we're talking about dimensions, density, and resonances. These are states of consciousness. And so if you know how to power that, supercharge that, this is why I like to go to the Holy Spirit, because that's how I learned how to be able to create egregores and program vector spaces and understand, like we talking about, like, okay, you have full awareness that you are the universe, and you have full awareness that you are a star. You have full awareness that you are everything, everywhere, all at once, and you know how to harness your kinetic energy, and as well as even create kinetic energy. They say energy can never be created or destroyed. Now, energy cannot be destroyed, but energy can definitely be created, and you know that just when you go and fuck somebody and you get them pregnant, and you created a whole new living organism with its own soul. That's energy. So yes, energy can be created. That's just common sense. But see, that when your system is closed, you don't know how to do that. See, they don't know how to do that. The inorganic beings and the satanic death cult, they don't know how to create free energy. No, but Tesla was trying to teach you to create free energy. So yeah, energy can be created, and you can harness free energy. And so, with me personally, I do a variety of of things. Like obviously, for those that like to be more physical with ritual instead of mental. For me, I like to do a lot of things from the mental plane now. But say you want more of, because some people they want that feeling, that they're doing the work, and that believe it or not, doing the physical work helps you reprogram your subconscious and prime conscious and auto conscious mind, as well as conscious mind, because you're actually doing the physical action. And so now you're still, it's like a feedback loop. See, versus, and how do I say this? It's not reversed engineer, but so like someone that could do it from the mental plane, they do it mentally, and then the physical stuff alters the optics. But then there's others that may not know how to manipulate more of that air energy of the mental aspect or the auto conscious aspect, or even have no idea what I'm talking about. They can still do the ritual. They can still do the physical work, which would be obviously certain bath cleansing, certain even they have different cleanses that you can do with, say, hyssop, or with I mean, people, you have honestly, I would say people do their own, come up with your own bath cleansing. If you know what metaphysical herbs that work, you do your own bath. You create your own recipe for what you feel. But like, say something simple, you could do rosemary, agrimony, and like literally in poppets, like put this in your bathtub. But if you know you got sensitive drain, don't just throw the herbs all in the damn tub. Like put it in like a sackcloth, and put a ponytail holder around the sackcloth, and then throw it in a tub, like maybe real hot water, like a tea, or you boil the tea first and then pour the tea into the tub. But you could do agrimony, rosemary, turpentine, a small amount of turpentine, very very little. Make probably just use the essential oil, the pine essential oil, but or you can go 100% pure turpentine. Uh, that one is real powerful. Obviously, you could do black salt, sea salt, black walnut. All these things will get rid of strongholds, will get rid of entities that are low governing force that are serving you. And only you know that. But I'm saying, like, if you want to go and do the research, now obviously, you have certain, you can create your own blockbuster uh, oils, different types of oil. You can buy them already made, or you can make your own. But for those that may not have the confidence, or like say like, okay, well, they don't know what herbs is, or what herbs to use or whatever. You keep it simple, but sometimes like the simple may not always work depending on how deep your shit is. Like sea salt may not always work. You may need some red brick dust around your house. You may need a nice floor wash with certain. You do your whole floor wash, wash it. The vicinity of where you're at, but also you will still want to do your cleansing, your bath cleansing, because you got to drive all that stuff out. Now that's just the physical stuff. I personally don't think one needs all of that, but it works for one. That's for sure. It does work because every element carries a frequency and resonance itself, and it also has its elemental dignitaries, whether that be feminine, masculine, earth, fire, water, air, a certain frequency. So say like the stone tourmaline conducts electricity. It already has an electric charge. It literally does. It conducts electricity. The tourmaline stone. So if you're wearing it on your body, what do you think is going to happen? And you get a copper, you're amplifying it. Now you're amplifying the resonance of the tourmaline over you, and then whatever frequency it naturally already has, why it's existing just on planet Earth. And so everything has that. Plants, dirt, trees, anything that's on this planet has its own resonance. And so if you know how to work with those those elementary dignities to help to serve you better, you can do that. That's one way. Obviously, people they'll run to a certain religion to get out of those things. It works to a degree. A lot of it does work. Like say if someone wants to become a Christian after they done, they in that industry or whatever, and they say, oh, I'll just go be a Christian, and I'll follow Jesus. Now here's the thing. What did Jesus say? I give you what? The Holy Spirit. And so anybody that knows a priest Melchizedek, you're dealing with a lot of monarch mentalism. You know how you were dealing with entities, could possibly be thousands of them. That's like Solomon dealing with the 72 uh, 72 entities. They say 72 angels, 72 demons, and lower Geisha, higher lesser key of Solomon, greater key of Solomon. Come on, that's real. You be getting deep, and we're talking about this is the bloodline that Yeshua comes from, bloodline of David. And so this is just how they get down. We've been getting down like that. It ain't nothing new. We all know about it, whether you how far you getting with it or not. But the reason why Jesus was talking about, I will leave you my Holy Spirit. I'll give you the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit will come upon you. We're talking about that polar creation energy that reorganizes all fragmentations of the soul, all any entities that's trying to hijack your consciousness, hijack your soul, and is giving you that Holy Spirit. And so it's not necessarily the religion that's important. Most Christians, they don't be really practicing. I ain't coming at nobody, but I'm just saying, like, I whatever. But as far as the teaching, when we say it works, and then we read some of that stuff when it says the light of the body is the eye. If how I be single, then the whole body should be filled with light. And then we talk about the Holy Spirit. So now we got two connections of someone that is making their all chambers of their mind single. Their pineal gland is completely whole and filled with light, their light, and they're filled with Holy Spirit. That is 1,000 hertz at least. This is infinite pole creation energy, and you know exactly who you are. And now you can take control over the programming of your own mind. Now you take control over the systems. Yeah, you're gonna be turning. You can walk on water. You could turn water into wine and shit. That type of shit. And that's people can do that. That's been going on for thousands of years. But they have made that science a part of a secret society. They do not want not the average, and they don't want the average human to know how to do none of that stuff. Could you imagine? But it is real. And most people that's in the know at the highest levels, they know that shit is real. And there are humans to this day that I know for a fact can do those type of things. Some of them have money, some of them don't have a pot to piss in. But they walked away. They walked away and went and became, Christ consciousness or a man that we talk about like an earth-based God, pretty much. a person that went through the ascension levels while they were in a physical human flesh and got up there through their own consciousness. There are plenty of humans that can do that. That is what Yeshua was actually trying to teach. But it got cut short because, again, that secret society saw him as a complete threat. Going off of the rails, pretty much. You're supposed to be under the program like everybody else. What are you doing? Okay, and so they cracked down on them type of people very quickly. And there's people, and those who do know how to do those things, you are sworn under secrecy. You are sworn to never show that in public. And you can do it in your house. You can do it with each other in groups, and you can do it with each other to program the computational algorithm as a network or as an order. But you are not allowed to just go out there. And that is illegal, actually, in the universe's eyes, because that knowledge was freely given to all of humanity. And so you have a situation like me teaching the same things and it's like, okay, they have tried to kill, they have tried to do all these things. They've tried to blacklist, financial blacklist or whatever, and it's still going. It's turned their family, we got family involved in it, to turn me out, or it just, and people have tried to get me into nefarious contracts or try to control what I think or control what I say, control what I do. And, I still keep kicking. But at that point, I know the consequences is what the consequences are. Obviously, I'm shadow banned. Obviously, I'm dealing with certain fuckery constantly. But, I get my get back. I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all, because I know the truth is what matters. And the truth needs no proof. The truth is what gives you your power. The truth. Your truth and the truth is more important than order. And then those who speak the truth can create the orders, can program and design them. And then a system that is based on lies is always doomed to fail. Anything that's based on lies is not sustainable. Anything that's not based on the truth will always fall. That's just the facts of life. That is just the facts of life. There's no getting away around it. And, and so we understand that. But yes, one of the biggest one, that's why you see like a lot of people out of the music industry, what do they go do? Like, especially, let's look at P. Diddy situation. Everybody that work with P. Diddy, they'll go hurry up and run to Islam or run to Christianity or run to Judaism, because they are search. They know that what they saw or what they experienced at them parties, or what they saw or what was done to them through them contracts, or even what they know as a because the industry is the occult, and so you will have to, if you're going to get into that industry at that high level, you have to have some knowledge of it on some level, or else you're going to just be a sacrifice. And so they know. And then and again, we're not saying that all of the occult or all esoteric science and mystery schools are, satanic, or no, 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 no. What they are doing is of the edge of the abyss, like the deep of, like the lower governing force. They are doing something that is completely in violation of universal law. A human that doesn't know, that goes into that, you can feel that is so against your soul. Like, it is so against what you know to be natural, and so you're going to repel about that. And to say you may not know, but you know that ain't right. You know that don't feel like God, and you know that you belong to God or whatever. So they just go to run a religion. That can be more advantageous or even more detrimental depending on what's in your bloodline. That's why people have to do their spiritual genealogy. People have to understand the objective science or the objective schools of thought behind a system, instead of just writing the whole thing off. Like, say, for instance, Kabbalah. Like, people really think Kabbalah is just so wicked, so evil. It's just this. It's a valueless system. There are people that take Kabbalah and do wicked things with it. Yes, there are people that take Kabbalah and do just horrific things. But then Kabbalah is also, you can reach higher ascension, higher consciousness. You can literally be at one with the God of the throne of Creator God. It is the mystic system of Judaism. It's the mystic system. This is mysticism. So it's the experiential experience of God within. Now, people want to take it and reverse engineer it and take the tree of life, turn it upside down, and do some other stuff with it to derive kinetic energy the other way, which is, and it's not, they see in Western occult, they say that's the left hand path. That's not the left hand path. The left hand path is in Varmachara traditionally is the path of the woman, the path of the divine feminine. What Western left hand path is not that. It's not the path of the divine feminine. It is botched science that was stolen from males from another order that was designed by females. And so the science is fucked up. That's what I'm saying. And so, people misinterpret things or whatever. But what we're saying is, like, people take systems that are not good and bad in the universe's eyes. And whatever your intention is, or whatever you do with it, collectively or even individually, will determine, not even will determine, but leads to an outcome that one could consider auspicious or inauspicious. So even Enochian magic, Enochian magic is pretty powerful. Once again, valueless. People are going to take that system and decide what they're going to. Okay, they have a coven or whatever. The coven's practicing Enochian magic. They want to do wicked shit with children or whatever. And then you have another system that wants to. Another coven that wants to take Enochian magic to maybe do something that's not for ill gain, but maybe help humanity, help this planet. That's what people are doing with these systems, just so you know. And there's different. Ifa is valueless. People once again, you can take it and use it for higher consciousness, use it for your good, use it for your benefit, and then people take it and use it for their ill gain, or use it to take from others, or use it to pervert stuff. It's like that with all of these systems, pretty much. And you could even say that with Christianity. I mean, look how there's things in Christianity that are contradictory. Look at how people took it and used it to start the Spanish Inquisition, killing millions and millions of people, killing innocent women, saying they are witches, and the Salem witch trial and all that stuff. And that was just to control the power of women. They got scared of any females that had certain bloodlines or had the potential to know about certain herbs or certain sciences. Those men, they were always quick to say you're a motherfucking witch and get your ass out the fame. It ain't nothing about being a witch. It's just more so they know these men are trained. A lot of those men in Christianity at the highest levels, they are Masons. They already know a lot of these occult sciences. They know that they're practicing the reverse engineer form of what they think is the coveting of the divine feminine, but they don't have the sanction or the clearance of the divine feminine. And so their systems will die because it's not based on truth. It's based on stolen information. But then they can see See, they already developed, they already opened a pineal gland, whether it was through sex magic, whether however they did it, whether it was through doing what they, how they do. They may have got it open when they was a little kid through, the panda ritual. That stuff is real. So they walking around and they can see entities on women, what women is working with, their aura, the colors on their aura, the prana, the kinetic energy. And if that woman had too much prana over them, and so they could see the prana on each other, they'd be like, okay, that woman got way too much prana. She's a witch. Let's cautiously say she's a witch. Let's catch her in the act. And let's throw her up on that Salem trial and burn her at the motherfucking stake. And they did this to so many women all over the world. And so, and they kept it a secret. I mean, this is how the secret societies grow. They've been sacrificing women for so long, it's not even funny. It's horrific. That's why P. Diddy has such a hatred towards women. Like, he sacrificed plenty of women. He's beat women. He has done all types of things. And it's because, like, they have to keep that. They have to, as a part of the harvesting and binding of the divine feminine of that energy is the reverse engineering, is the degradation of it too. That honestly cannot happen anymore. Obviously, that stuff is not going to be able to happen anymore because the divine feminine is completely awakened. As far as the energy, I'm not saying every female is awakened. Hell no. But the energy is on this planet again. This energy is here to correct, and this energy is here to expose, and the energy is here to give the truth, and the energy is here to enlighten. And so they kind of are like, because they have there's no way that they can amass, they can't gain any control over that raw power. That's a raw chaos. That's a dark melanin entropy, expansive entropy of infinite possibility distributions. It's just like you ain't controlling it. You can't kill that. You can't control that. You done conjure some shit up. You ain't know what the fuck you was doing, nor did you understand. And now you gotta come correct. Whether you messing with Saturn, whether you're messing with Venus, whether you're messing with the primordial dark energy of the universe itself. Those are all very highly feminine energies that are primordial. And if you fuck with them and you snare conjuring, when they do these secret societies, do they ritual, whatever, and they bring it down and awaken them, and they get and they realize, like, nah, we don't really fuck with you like that, because y'all sitting up there harming women and fucking with children. Like, we don't really want to fuck with y'all. And when those primordial entities say that, then it's like it shakes up the whole. Now the whole shit is collapsing, and that's literally what happened with many of them secret societies, by the way, starting in 2022 and 2023. They got a wake up call. There's gonna be many more wake up calls, but yeah, there's plenty of things you could do to get rid of out of these systems, but it has to come from you. Have to have the real intention and authentic, and again, the simple way is that integration. So even a simple meditation, integration of your lower self with your higher self, complete balance, complete contentment with yourself, and knowing that you are an infinite being filled with creativity and love and enlightenment and joy and happiness, knowing that that's your birthright. Like, enlightenment is your birthright. Love is your birthright. Love of self and oneness with God is your birthright. And so those that tap into that, regardless of what religion it is, you'll get there. But you have to know that the consequences is they not gonna feed you. They're not gonna give you no shake in their system, in their satanic death code matrix system. But here's the thing: if everybody walks away, then what? That system collapses and a new system gets created. And that's what we're trying to do. And we're being fought like tooth and nail. They know that they are wrong. They know that they're lying. I mean, there's people that's defending this system, and you catch them in lies day after day. It's like, and it's frustrating because it's so hurtful, because it's like, damn, like, it's humans that's really like don't know that they being lied to. But it's like, what can anybody do? Like, we can only do so much. And then especially working on the margins of their system itself. And so, I want to look at, I want to show like some examples of some eyes before I end this, of like, we talk about the eyes are the windows to the soul, where you could just see some of the clarity in someone's eyes in terms of the light, their light energy. We talk about someone has so much light. And so the first person that I probably show somebody that's like really famous. We could do Tupac. Yeah, let's do Tupac. And then because sometimes just because somebody got a lot of light don't mean that they all innocent or all, you know what I mean? Like, you got a person, like, we'll look at Winnie Mandela, where you see light and fire, seraphim serpentine energy, this pure fire. It's a lot of light. It's a lot of truth. It's like a lot of It's a powerful dragon energy that come for war, that come to fight. Sometimes you can see that somebody is a warrior in their eyes. You see that warrior in their eyes, but you also see that purity and you see that clarity in their soul. You see their soul, and you can tell in their soul that they a motherfucking warrior. That means they care to speak truth and bring fire. But also there's some purity. See, like with Tupac, he always talking about thug life. He always talking about thug, he this, he that. But you still see that baby purity in those eyes. Like, to me, and I seen that as a little ass kid. I always loved Tupac. Everybody loves Tupac, whatever. But when you're looking at those eyes, the eyes are the windows of the soul. Now, I'm not saying he perfect or anything. It's not about being perfect. But you could see the eyes of the windows of the soul. Baby, purity. There's a purity there. There's a clarity behind the eyes. There's a clarity there. And guess what? He was a part of a certain dimension. I remember he was talking about Illuminati. He didn't get he realized what he was doing when he turned down that he didn't want to suck no dick. Now, was he under remember they had been watching Tupac since he was 7 years old. He was on a list. They had put agents on his mother to get her on drugs to mess her up because she was a naturally trained lawyer. She didn't have to go to school or nothing, and she was able to get all the Black Panthers off. So she was a naturally trained lawyer, and they knew that she was bringing in this boy. And so they had been watching him since he was 7 years old, and they did put him in under Monarch programming. He ended up breaking it, though. That's why you started seeing him like with the bathtub, with the money. That's what you could clearly tell, like, okay, he was under influence. He was going through they ranks, And again, a lot of times you don't even know because this stuff started. Mind you, his mother had him when she was in jail, so that was the technicality of making him a ward of the state. Because once you come a ward of the state, the government can do anything they want to you, whether it's via aunt or whatever. If the state is involved, they gonna be looking. They're gonna be monitoring. They were monitoring this boy. They did put him in Monarch. They had already planned for him to sell his influence, to sell his star to lead people astray. Right? Talking about the thug life, all this stuff. But it backfired because he already got spirits on him that he came in with, that whole bloodline comes in with. We're talking about Tupac. We're talking about a Black American. We're talking about somebody that has primordial energies on him. I know for a fact that I know the dimension that Tupac comes from. I know that he's 125D. Now, here's the thing. When he started talking about Illuminati, that's when they said, okay, the programming is broken. And he talking about don't sell your soul, and he ready to help the children, and they got enough money to feed the wars, but can't feed the poor, and we gotta love our women's, and we ruining the generation of women because of the way we treating them, and no. That's what the satanic cult system says. Oh no. He's talking about Illuminati. He's talking about we gonna expose them, and we not, and he ain't want to suck no dick. And so what did they do? They had P. Diddy, the principality demonic demon, kill him. Now this been a rumor. This is the rumor we all heard my whole life. I ain't gonna hold you. I heard this my whole life. Did he do it? No. What did people say? No, it's innocent, proven guilty. Whatever. The streets think he did that shit. He ain't never been forgiven because again, Tupac was a 125D dimensional being, and his life was cut short. The government had already knew he was coming down here, and they had been trying to fuck with him, been trying to mess with him, and get him to sell his soul. That's why he said, "Oh, my soul is still there. I didn't sell it. I don't agree to selling my soul." That's what he said in them interviews. We all watched a bunch of shit about Tupac growing up. Like, let's be real. We all saw his interviews. We all listened to his music and whatnot. And so you can clearly see the difference in the eyes. You can clearly see the difference in the eyes. Look at the difference in the eyes. Now, I could tell that Diddy is traumatized. I could tell that he's mind control. I could see things on him. I see, but look at the comparison. And so when we talk about like when people see light on somebody and they ready to snuff that shit out, or they know the dimension you come from and you don't, or they know the power that you got and you don't, oh, they'll come for your motherfucking ass. And you could look at the eyes of the window to the soul. Look at this picture right here. Eyes are the window to the soul. I'm telling you, I know, like, I can instantly look at Tupac and tell what dimension he come from. Now, again, I told you a story how they always try to get people in a Monarch program. They always try to get real high powered stars with a lot of kinetic energy already when they're babies. They try to get you in a ward of state. They'll put your ass in a Monarch program so fast, proposition your parents to sell you to the CIA so fast, it's not even fucking funny. Or if and the parents won't do it, they'll find a way to get you in foster care. They'll find a way to be able to track you. They was tracking his boy since he was 7 years old. He was on a watch list, and so they had already knew. And he still ended up breaking. They did all that stuff, gave him the hope, gave him all that money and all this stuff, and he still ended up breaking his programming and still saying, it's time to us for look out for our communities and because his mother was a Black Panther, so they already knew it was in his epigenetics. Look what's on him. Look at the tattoos that's on him. They already know. And they said, you know what? We're going to set this motherfucker up. Now, do I think it was just Diddy that went and did it? No. But we talking about they talking about that $1 million was paid and all this shit. And probably the government was in on it too. But they got his ass out the paint. So I'm saying the eyes is the window to the soul. And this is for discernment so you could see that glow in people's eyes and not have the judgment, even if they have done mistakes or whatever. Another person is, I'll show you this one, Ramana Maharshi. Now, I ain't gonna hold you. This was a teacher of mine. The first time I saw his picture come across, I just saw his picture and like on a book, because he got a book or whatever. He got a couple of books that not that he wrote, that people wrote about him. And I was looking at Ramana Maharshi, and man, the first time I saw this picture, this was like a book. This is a book, right? I had this book, by the way, but it was like I'm gonna say at like Buff State College. I walked past it, the book or whatever, and I just immediately busted out crying. I immediately busted out crying because I felt the connection so deeply with his soul, with the eyes, his eyes behind the soul. I just knew he happened to me before. Just to walk past the book and to look at a book and look at somebody's eyes. And it just warmed my heart. Like, oh my gosh, like I knew this person. And he talks about I am that I am. Now, anybody that knows some shit, y'all know he know. And he didn't read no motherfucking books. He went in a cave and was meditating all these years and came out, I am that I am. That's it. And was teaching the who is the self? How do you get to the questions of inquiry of what is the self? How do you know the self? Where am I? I am that I am. Okay? And that's the conclusion that he came to of all them years of meditation. And that's a very deep process. Like, they be talking about no books, no nothing. Now, all the religions teach you that. Let's be real. All the religions teach you that. But he went in the cave and found that out himself. with no books, with nothing. But when I saw, I researched him. I like his teachings, but the eyes are the window to the soul. You could tell when somebody is working with. You could tell when somebody is at peace, or where they have found peace, or when they a good soul. It's through the eyes. I'll show you this one, because this one is more of someone that he understands more of mind behind mind. If you don't understand that experience, no one can describe that experience to you. Because honestly, we would say the men that get caught up with all this knowledge. And I used to be this way myself. You caught up with all this knowledge. That is to be dominated by the mind, which still has an impact on your ego. And I admit myself that I deal with that, But when you can get behind the mind, or self behind mind, rather, I'll say that, self behind mind, that is a very powerful experience to have. I have had that experience. And I'm saying I'm always been there. I know how to do it at will, but I know what that feeling is, and I know what that experience is. It's a very powerful power. It's life-changing. And obviously, looking at Ramana Maharshi's eyes, it instantly tells me that he was able to get beyond mind, beyond the universe's mental aspect. There's a level above the universe's mental. This is the teachings of Tahuti, like the teachings of certain high beings, that they understand that the universe is mental, whatever. There's a level above that. Most humans, most people, or even gods, even don't even figure that part out. And that information, believe it or not, had been, though it's released in some aspects to humanity. To be honest, most humans, they either get distracted, or the system, distracts you or whatever. Or people are worried about 9 to 5, and so they don't have the time to go sit in no motherfucking cave and meditate and all that shit, and be all in transcendental meditations in different dimensions and different universes, and exploring itself and exploring consciousness. So nobody is blaming anybody for not being able to do that, holding against anyone. But for those, it is a powerful experience. The self behind mind, that is the level above the universe is mental. That is where you start tapping into chaos intelligence. but then the human's definition of chaos is skewed in my eyes. Like when I say chaos, we're talking about like the polar creation, the dark energy that creates entropy, like this, the 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 characteristic of primordial aspects, and that has an element of entropy. Now, entropy is not disorder and randomness in my eyes. That is probability distribution of continuous variables. Simple terms, that means infinite possibilities that continuously expand in simple human terms. But for those that study, that maybe know a little bit more about this, think of it as entropy as probability distribution itself, continuous variables of information. So you're combining. Remember, this is all dependent on information theory. So if you know that there's nothing but infinite possibilities and infinite data, infinite, then you can program. You know I am that I am, and you know that you are the self behind the mind. Then you can create. You can do anything. And then some people they want to stay at bliss consciousness. That is a very comfortable ass feeling. And so some people they want to continue to meditate in that space, and so there's some that say, well, I got this knowledge, I understand what self-mind mind is, I'll go back in and help other people. Some people say, you know what, I'm just about to create my whole heaven, I'm about to create a heaven on earth, shit, fuck it. And they still deal with data, they still deal with information. Self behind mind, I do have to say, it's not really dealing with the manipulation of information, but it can. But say like somebody Ramana Maharshi, they're just going to meditate all damn day, or they want to be by water or by nature or shit like that. But then you have other people, they do it, different. They like to they want to explore other dimensions. They want to explore hecka and information and come up with their own subjective programming to alter a universe, to alter a planet. That's the Kalima energy. That's a divine feminine energy, creator and destroyer energy, and so it has its path. We talk about, and for those that may be familiar with the Hindu pantheon, we're talking about the difference between the Advaita Vedanta, which is Ramana Maharshi's approach is more so at Advaita Vedanta versus say the Tantra Agori Kalima, that's the left hand divine feminine path, which is more of creator destroyer, even some of the Shiva energy. So that's just an example for those that may be there. I'm trying to see if I could think of one more simple analogy for what I'm trying to. For the Christians, that would be the light of the light of the body is the eye. If the eye be single, then the whole body shall be filled with light. Like that's pretty much what that means. But those are the eyes. Let's look at Osho's eyes, because his eyes are different. His eyes, there's still a purity and a clarity there, but you also see that darkness, and not darkness in the evil sense. We're talking about he was more so of the Shakti school of thought. He was one that dealt with V2, which is content information, the manipulation of information. That's why they call him the guru of wealth, because he understood, he knew some shit. He had said some things that have totally shattered my object subject duality, like totally broke my mind. Like, wow, that's some deep shit. Like he really knows some shit. But he also was one of the ones that's like, well, I'm in a physical body still. I know how to manifest at will. I know how to create egregores that can even reside in other people to manifest and do my bidding. And that's what I do. And he created his own little compound and created his own, I think he had like 365 Rolls Royces. So those that know how to manipulate energy at that level, some people, they do deal with the content and the information they interact with their surroundings. And so a simple term of that is they will master prosperity. They will master wealth. They will master money. Like that's just how some people approach it. And he also again comes from that Shakti school of thought. So I'm not saying Osho was perfect, because I'm not here to make any of these people saints. I'm just saying like the different types of eyes. We're just going through eyes at this segment. But I always liked his eyes. I have to say, I've always liked his eyes. They have I could tell that that there's even though, because he even talked about like, this is what the American people like. They like to see people with wealth, but he always knew that money wasn't about nothing. That your true power is your kinetic energy. And he did teach that. Now, if nobody was listening, that's their fault. But he did. I know for a fact that he taught it because I remember when he talked about awareness is everything. Don't ever give away awareness and your free will for money. He has said this. He has said this out of his mouth. Now, but the thing is, once you get to a certain level of self behind mind, you know how to manifest at will, and you know how to control certain elements of things. They got his ass right out the paint. They exported his ass so quick. They deported his because he was a direct threat to the matrix system, I have to say. But Osho, good or bad, what you take from him, um, that's your business, because I know a lot of people don't agree with his tantric teachings, but that was also thing of getting humans to be comfortable with their sexuality, getting humans to be comfortable with the expression of all of their repressed emotions uh, around sex, having developing more confidence with sex and whatnot. And so I personally see value in those teachings, because there is a lot of repression around sexuality. However, that you still have to do everything by consent and respect. And so whatever sexuality you want to get into, that's your business. But as long as you have consent and respect for yourself, and respect, and uh, being aware of what you're doing, like don't lose consciousness, like don't lose yourself in a frenzy. Do everything with awareness. And so I like that was his teachings as well, that it was just whatever you're going to get into, you must be aware. And I remember him, he was saying, like, who cares if you don't make a lot of money in this system or in the markets. And I have the videos because I'd be watching this stuff. I'd be watching it. And I remember he was like, don't give up your awareness. Do not give up your enlightenment for nothing in this world. And he said, do anything to keep it, but do nothing to give it up. And so what if you may not have as much as the money as the next person or whatever, because he also knew that most people are not going to do that work to become, this master guru, to be able to create at will. And so, but those who do that, maybe they take on that decision to copy what he did, and many do. And then sometimes you do it the Ramana Maharshi route and just say fuck it and just and we go meditate in a cave somewhere, just do your own little hermit lifestyle. A stoic lifestyle, stoic minimalist lifestyle. And if you know that you're in a matrix system that's dying and in a matrix system that feeds off of souls, that's probably the smart thing to do, so that you don't feel obsessed over material things, or you don't put value on material things, because they're going to lock your ass out anyways. If you get to that level and they know you at that level, and they can tell, trust me, they'll know. They ain't no getting out of it. We talking about Dracos that's 10D, 15, 20D that could see resonances, auras, all types of shit on you. They got neural remote monitoring, all types of shit. They can see what's on your motherfucking head. And so if you at that level, they will know. You will glitch their shit, and they will put you on notice. They put me on notice, and they will lock you out. Like they'll be like, okay, well, figure it out. Since you don't want to play ball with our system, then you are out on your own. You in the wilderness. You go out and figure it out. You ain't offering you no job. You ain't getting no jobs. Unless you sign this, And so you have to be aware of that. So that's why I would tell any human that is on that path, if you know you're in this system, and unless you're gonna go at that level, go all the way, which you can create your own opportunities. I don't want nobody to think they got to be some poor righteous teacher or some. You can create your own opportunities, and you can do it the long way. It's a harder way, because they're gonna be trying to fuck with you. But you can do it. But for those that say they just want an easy, simple life and don't really want to think or worry too much about, that, maybe it is better to have to practice the stoicism, to practice the minimalist lifestyle. And so that way you have less stress. That's all I'm saying, is that you have less stress. Like, I practice a minimalist lifestyle because I ain't trying to be worried about, I got to pay $3,000 in rent and I got to pay. No, I ain't doing all that. I gotta pay for this luxury car. That's just not my thinking. Like, I can't. Like, I'd rather have chill. I like a peaceful motherfucking life. I ain't gonna hold you. Peaceful as a motherfucker. But let's look at somebody else's eyes. We got Thomas Sankara. His eyes. This was a war general. He was the president of Burkina Faso. He was obviously knocked off, but he did so much in that short amount of time that he was president. And they obviously killed him. Set him up. Best friend set him up with the help of the French government. He was a complete revolutionary and a complete God sent being. But again, when we talk about like looking into the eyes of that purity. And this was a person that was a warhead, a war scientist, the president of Burkina Faso, led a coup to become the president, and fought a war to get the Western imperialisms out of Burkina Faso. And so when we talking about they only make they don't. I mean, could you imagine if every man was like this on the plane? You wouldn't have not a problem because he was also a part of the divine feminine. He was always teaching. He took care of the women in his country, and the women, I mean, they loved him. And he wasn't like he. I mean, if y'all look, if I ever get a chance to look up a documentary on Thomas Sankara, please do. Which is one of the very few righteous people that graced this planet. It is a blessing to have him. And they killed him, shot him up. We talking about riddled his body with bullets, 12 bullets and shit, fucked him up. Had his black people were in on it, of course, as per usual, to get money from the white people from France in exchange for killing him. They sold him out pretty much out of jealousy because, I mean, the people love him. They made it a crime to say his name. After he died, they made it a crime punishable if you said his name. That's how jealous. This is how they wanted to bury his legacy so bad. And then the women loved him because he was always looking out for the melanated women. He's always looking out for them African women. They had a holiday. He was teaching the men how to treat them, that you couldn't beat no women's, you couldn't harm them. You know, he was, and he tell them, if you want an education, go get you an education. If you want to be a housewife, go get be a housewife. If you want to be able to fight in a war, you should be able to let the women make the decisions. These women are really intelligent. They know what to do. And so if you listen to his speeches on women, they're very, very fascinating. Again, if they don't make them like this no more, if they did, I tell you, the whole world would be in peace because he did a lot to look out for his country. I mean, he did look out for them. They was, I mean, you should have seen, the Western powers got so scared of them because they was feeding, they became completely independent off of Western powers. They turned down IMF money. They took control of their gold, over their resources, their natural resources. They grew their own food. They produced all their food. They set up education systems to train all the children in their pedagogy, which would be melanated cosmic pedagogy in their history, for Burkina Faso. And so that was very powerful. And that was just something that, I'm telling you, it touched my life. It changed my life. And I was able to meet this man's soul in dreams. And he came to me as a protector and helped me, and people was wondering, like, how's he coming up with all this enterprise architecture frameworks and his military science stuff. Thomas Sankara is one of my protectors. He was a bodhisattva on planet Earth, so he's considerably very, very high level now in the spiritual realm. He is very, very high level. This was a being that came into human flesh to help, that part of Africa. And unfortunately, the Africans, as per usual, that was around him, not the citizens, but like say the corrupt presidents and the corrupt politicians, they conspired with Western powers to kill him, and they abandoned him. They would not support him, except for the president of Ghana at the time. The president of Ghana did look out for him, and did, there were people that had his back. Don't get me wrong, but for the most part, you know how they do. They sell your motherfucking ass out. That's how my people did me. So I already know that's what they did to him. And actually, it's not that what I know. It's because that's the fact. Like it's literally documented, And so this is my baby. I love him so much. You know how you knew, man. I'm not a thirsty girl. You know how people be boy crazy and stuff. I've never been boy crazy. I never been like giddy. Like I'm not one of them girls. People say I'm kind of some men maybe feel like I'm self-absorbed. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not. But for a man like this, I would have went high and low to get my hands on him if he was alive. But it is what it is. So we got Winnie Mandela. I'm attracted to people's eyes. I'm always gonna look behind the eyes and see what's in a motherfucker's soul before I make any judgments. And see, with her, you get the light, but you also see whoop ass time. Like, this is a general. This is a general. This is a warrior. And everybody knows she'll get your ass quick. The movement out, they was killing the spies. They was getting at the spy. They were getting at anybody. And she was ordering this stuff like, oh, they trying to ruin our movement. They trying to ruin because she's from a royal bloodline. She's royalty. Everybody knows that. And You know, when you look at Winnie Mandela, you're gonna get warrior. You're that you could see it in her eyes. And when I first saw her, I said, "Who is that lady?" Because I'm attracted to her eyes. Actual shit. I'm just talking about as a human. That is a truth teller, truth speaker to the end, and very protected, very protected spiritually. You weren't gonna come and just run up on this lady. You weren't gonna just run up on her. Or none of that. Even if she was by her motherfucking self, she could have go out by herself and walk down the street, whatever, or in a town full of enemies, and you weren't just gonna just be able to just run up on this motherfucker. Because this is a motherfucker that would have shapeshifted on your ass and had motherfuckers running away. I'm telling you, and I know people ain't ever seen nothing like that or don't know what that stuff is like, but there are humans on this planet that can speak in a certain tongue language. And say they got an enemy that's after them, or people that's trying to come up close them, and they speak in a tongue language, and you'll see that person bolt off running like they saw a damn ghost. I'm speaking from experience. I know this stuff is true. Where somebody try to come and deceive you, or trying to come in and fuck with you, and you give them that look. And so she one of them people. You ain't just running up on her, but the eyes are the window to the soul. You could tell a warrior spirit. You could tell a soul. You could tell when somebody ain't shit. See, I ain't gonna go all negative. I ain't gonna go all inauspicious and just be trying to show people how you know the eyes is dead, the spirit is gone. I ain't gonna do that to people. You know what I mean? Because it's a very sensitive topic. But I wanted to show, you know, though the example of what I was talking about. The last person I want to show is a couple. There's two more people, Darren Seals. Darren Seals, and then we could probably do Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle was one of them. He's also, I already know what dimension he come from too. Um, there's bounty on the heads of people in the spiritual realm who we know had helped sacrifice that man and killed them. It was not just the government and shitty cuz it was actually a gang involved, as well as people in the entertainment industry, as well as people in the pro black conscious space that was behind the death of Nipsey Hussle. I'll say that to the day to the end. I know it, I see it. The day that he died, my um, God came to me the day that he died and showed me some things about him, because he kept, you know how the algorithm keep recommending stuff or whatever, you know, on YouTube and whatnot, and what. Actually, let's actually pull him up so I can actually I'll tell this story. So then just Nipsey, so it makes more sense playback wise. um, yeah, but you see in Nipsey Hussle's eyes, you know, the day that he died, the day before, you know, the day that he wasn't dead yet, it wasn't announced that he had got shot, but it was just the whole day. This person's stuff kept getting recognized, and so some moments you just always remember. Like I remember the week the week before Prince died, I had dreams about Prince the week before he had died. You know, like certain things you just kind of know. It doesn't really happen, but that it happened with Prince with me. See, that's something I'll always remember. And see, like the same thing kind of happened with Nipsey, but his stuff kept getting recommended on YouTube and stuff. And I remember saying, I ain't gonna hold you because I ain't know who that nigga was, and I ain't gonna act like I'm some Nipsey Hussle fan because I don't really listen to his music. I don't really, you know what I mean? I'm just talking about the soul. That's it. I'm not acting like I'm a fan of Nipsey Hussle, but I respect his soul. When I say fans, I don't listen to his music. I didn't listen to his music. So when he kept getting recommended, I said, I don't know what this nigga is. Why does shit keep coming on my damn timeline? Like I don't know who this nigga is. And mind you, he was not dead yet. And no lie, it was like, imagine like a thunder voice. You know how like they be having them dramatic scenes and like say the Prince of Egypt, when that Moses with that burning bush in that movie, The Prince of Egypt. That's literally like how that was. Like, don't you dare talk like that about, you know, somebody that's from our dimension. He's our people. That was the first thing that voice, and it was like I knew it was like whoa. And she was like, they coming after him. They plotting on, and they gonna get him. And I'm looking like, what the hell that got it? I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know who this is. But she said, look at the eyes, look deeper. And I said, oh, like once I stopped, because I'm like, why did it why do this nigga keep getting recommended on my motherfucking time? I'm ghetto. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? I don't know this nigga. He cute, but like, I don't know this motherfucker. But when I actually stopped and was like, okay, let me look behind the eyes, and I said, oh shit, and I understood what that voice meant. I would say about 2 hours to 3 hours later, that's when it was announced that he was dead. And it was so disruptive. Whatever, this was not an energy they were supposed to go after. Like, it was so angering to the energies that's on him. Like, and to know the dimension that he's from and what he was meant to do, was supposed to be doing, and it's set up by these treacherous black jealous niggas in the government, that's a problem. And so somebody definitely, we still doing drive-bys on that. Like, nobody get away with nothing. And so, yes, he was one of the ones, unfortunately, that had life got cut short because he was trying to continue to enlighten people, help motherfuckers, teach them about group economics, and particularly Black Americans. And they got about the paint, but it was also their bloodline, royal, imperial bloodline. Okay. And so they see that, and it's in the eyes. I mean, I could see it in the eyes, and I'll never forget the day that before he had died, that visitation, when I was looking at that stuff, and I'm like, why the fuck do he keep coming on my page? And God was like, this is deeper. This is deeper, Jen. That's why he keep coming, trying to show you that they about to get him. And I didn't even know what that meant. Like, what does this mean? I don't even know who this is. And then that's when, about 2 hours later, that's when the announcement, that's when he was shot. And obviously it goes viral and stuff, and then people are hurt because a lot of people are fucking with him. This is a solid dude. But again, we're talking about kinetic energy, kinetic swiping. This is how people steal light off of people. And there were probably so many warnings, and of them trying to keep him out of this industry, of them trying to keep him away from certain people. And a lot of times you don't know. Like, I'm telling you, I know how for a fact that you can get caught up in some shit that's way above your pay grade with certain people, and you literally just won't know until either it's too late, you're dead on the other side, or with me, it was like I had no choice but to wait. That's when I started in August 2022, and in July of 2023, where I had to see that it was snakes around me. It was like, bitch, wake up. Like, you had no choice, because they were trying to kill you, but they couldn't. But it was like, I still had to wake up. I still had to become aware. And so another one is Darren Seals that I want to show, as far as these eyes, because now we're talking about light beings. Now he's more of a fire seraphim. Once again, more of that serpentine, Black American energy, indigenous, there's fire. So there's a purity to me. I see clarity. I see purity, but you also see warrior and fighter. This is a person that will beat your ass. Now, again, he also got around people that was I saw a speech of his that riled up Black Americans so bad. And I already knew right then and there. And I shared that speech on my channel. I saw that speech. It was so raw, so authentic, and so fiery. And all them Black Americans got riled up and was willing to follow him. And I said, and then I see the way that they was literally trying to take the mic away from him, pull him off the stage. Like, it was like all these, once again, these Masonic ass fucking black, jealous, treacherous niggas started surrounding him, trying to take him away from the mic and shut it down. Because he was talking about how we gotta set up, we gotta depend on each other. We gonna build our own trust funds. Fuck it, let's build our own communities. Let's just lead this system. And he was talking about how he was gonna do it. And that speech, and yeah, he was killed. I mean, let's be real, like they did him dirty. But once again, I know for a fact it was obviously the powers that be, but also they always get a black nigga around you to pull to set you up. I'm telling you from experience how they almost got me. They will send some niggas around you that you think is your friend, that they think, and they will line you the fuck up. Like, why you think it was so easy to get Nipsey Hussle? It's the people around you. The only way you can get a person with certain prana is through the people that you close with. And so that's another example. And then the last example is baby girl Aaliyah. Obviously, someone with a lot of light. Now, people were saying she got into the dark arts and she got into the occult. She got into the primordial divine feminine. That was her natural protection on her. She got around a bunch of snake, jealous ass bitches in the industry. People who were trying to destroy her, obviously. There were people that were around her that she had no business being around. Um, you know, just this, in that sense, she didn't stand a chance. And then she's young, and then you don't know nothing at 22, 15. She was 15 with R. Kelly. Let's be real. You don't know nothing at no motherfucking 15. Now she was more mature than the average person. That I give you. Yes, she had more natural prana than the average person. She is a natural star. She didn't need anybody. She didn't need nobody from that industry. She would have. She this type of soul don't need nobody but herself. And see how they played her. They made her the queen of the damned in that movie. That was her last movie before they killed her. Queen of the damned. That she was going to sacrifice her. Look at the end when it was all when she turned into that ash, into that with all them people harvesting off her energy. They already had. They was all. This was already something that they were trying to let her know. So she didn't know. That's why they tell you don't play certain movie roles. Don't play certain movie roles because this shit could be a fucking ritual on your ass. Even the movie roles that you play, the songs that you sing, it could be a whole predetermined ritual. And so if you don't know any better, you just don't know. But everybody knows that this is a female with a lot of light, but also a lot of primordial, divine, feminine, mystic energy. She was natural priestess. If she would have got to whatever she would have been a natural high priestess. And but my thing is, here's the thing: like there's a lot of people with a lot of light on them and a lot of God particle in them naturally, and they won't know it or they don't know. But other people that are higher up can see it, and they'll plot on that. They will plot on that, and they'll try to trick you out of it too. And so there's some people, even if you see people get caught up with certain things or dabbling in certain things, if God is on them, ain't nothing you could do. Ain't nothing you could do. Now that doesn't mean you can't get set up and killed still. That doesn't mean you will not get set up and if you get around the wrong people and you don't pay attention to the warnings or you're not even paying attention to the rituals that's being done on you, then yes, you can still get fucked up. You can still get your ass fucked up. And you can still be done dirty. But it doesn't take away from the fact that there are people with a lot of light in them naturally and who get taken advantage of. People still get taken advantage of, and God still be on a person's life, no matter what. And so for me personally, I always saw that even as a little kid, because kids can see souls on people, right? Like when you were a little kid, you know. And when I was a little ass kid, like 8, 7 years old, I mean, it wasn't a little girl that did not like Aaliyah. Like it was, I mean, it was just like, oh my gosh, but it was just like a purity, like a clarity of the soul. You could see the soul in this motherfucker eyes. You could just see that there's so much fire. There's so much. It's not so much fire. It's a mystery. This is a quiet priestess. This is a quiet, demure, very feminine, powerful though. It's very, very, very powerful energy that's attached to her, and it's very primordial. It is very, very primordial, and it what people would say dark, but people don't understand the difference between like a satanic dark and then like the angelic dark. Unfortunately, people don't understand the differences between a primordial darkness and say what you'll see is darkness in the industry or something like those are two different things that I'm talking about. They're not even comparable, and it's very hard to even relay that in words to humans. Like that's something you got to experience or to see that dimension yourself to know what it's like to see the divine feminine, its raw primordial melanin glory like that of the universe, to see like the universe literally, you to see that you have to experience that, and it is like an infinite power. Like it's raw, and so but it's very subtle. It's the divine feminine. So it's very receptive. It's not aggressive. It's not assertive. It can be, obviously it can be, but it's not something that's like a convert. It's not a masculine energy at all. And so she has that. She naturally has that. It's a very you don't think other people can see that power on this lady? Look at the look. Now this is a 22-year-old, right? She might have been 21 at this time. She died at 22. But if you look at her eyes, this is the eyes of someone that is much, much older. This does not, this is not the wisdom, like the mystic high priestess primordial energy behind the eyes. You wouldn't think this was a 21-year-old or a 22-year-old, a 19-year-old. You would not think that. It's like, okay, this person, she was always mature. You could tell she has a lot of maturity, but you could see that this is someone with light. And and it was like, okay, well, you said primordial darkness. How is this light and primordial darkness at the same time? Primordial darkness births photon energy, phosphorus. It births light. The primordial, you have to get to, in order to get to light, which electromagnetism, which is the creation of like electric static, the electric field, and the magnetism itself. You don't get that before darkness. You don't get that before primordial melanated cosmic energy, raw potential, dark. You don't get that. You have to you go there first, and then you get light. But I'm saying she has both that primordial energy and the light. And now that is a walking, that for men who know that, say the men who preyed on her when she was 15 and 16 and all that shit, and the people that was jealous of her and wanted to sacrifice her and wanted to eat off her money and her catalog, whatever, they saw that. They knew that. She didn't. See, as a little kid, I see, now that I know what I know, I could see that clear as day. I'm like, damn, like I don't know what it's like to want to take from somebody or try to grab something from, I don't know what that feeling feels like. But when you look at this person, say for someone who has a jealous spirit, and they'll see someone like her, they're going to think of can they destroy someone like that. And that's why they was plotting on her. And that's a wicked thing to do, but that's how people think. Like, people, like, you'll see somebody's light and a talent and a beauty, and see some people want to celebrate that. Some people want to see more of it. Like me, I want to see more of it. It's like, man, I got to see more of that. Like, that's dope. Like, I love to see gifted people that are free, that are independent, that are really talented, that have a lot of light, that are true to themselves. Like, I love to see that. That is such a beautiful thing to witness. It's such a beautiful thing to see somebody living in their truth and living in their glory and living in the truth that's in alignment with primordial energy and their light. You can see their star. And all humans have that, for one. Some people bury it, some people hide there, some people don't know. So all humans have that, but when you see it, it's something to celebrate. But on this planet, they feel like that's something to kill. That's something to hurt. And that's why you have the system ran by satanic death cult. And it's dying. But most humans didn't even know that they were living. They still don't know. They still won't accept it because it's so dark. And they don't want to believe, well, it's so wicked, rather. And they don't want to believe that stuff like that exists on a planet right under their nose. That people that they think is so rich or so powerful only built their system up by harming other motherfuckers, or by fucking over other people, or by stealing from other people, or by lying, and by people don't want to, or even by messing with kids and shit like that, and going through initiation rites and oaths to be trusted to run this system and going deeper into it. See, with some people, they may stay out of their system, but they already know how it works exactly, because they can see it on the spiritual realm. You can't hide it from them because their eye is open. And so that's the last person I want to show, as far as like that soul energy, And so everybody got different types of eyes. I'm not saying it's one look, because you saw how Osho look. See how the warrior spirit looks, like how Winnie Mandela looks like. She'll beat your ass, like you see some people, you see Darren Sills with fire eyes, purity eyes, Messiah eyes, baby eyes. Like Tupac, he got baby eyes to me. It's just like a little ass baby. As far as the purity, the intentions, like that's somebody that wouldn't harm a fly given the right circumstances. That's a person that would do righteous before wickedness. And that I see that in Tupac. That I saw as a little ass kid. I did a whole project on Tupac in high school as well. He had a book of poetry. I bought that book. We all read the poetry book, And so like certain people, you could just see it. That doesn't mean that they may not have done bad things, or they may not have got caught up in the wrong things or in the wrong industries, or even with the wrong people. Think shit happens. And a lot of times your lack of awareness can really screw you up, especially because you're surrounded by satanic occultists who have the knowledge, who know the mystery sciences, who know the mystery schools. They could be double, triple your age, and they know you don't know, but they see that star on you. They see that purity. They see that, and they say, I got to cloak my energy in that. and you ride off of that energy to get to the next level, and they'll come for your ass. And that has happened to me. So I know what that looks like now. And so I also could know when it's going to happen to another person. I saw that happening to another person. Two people, they were trying to do this in the reparation space. I did tip her off, and I also sent a message to another person who I know is also an interdimensional being, but it's private. I'm just the one that's loud and out, and announce who I am. And I don't give a fuck what people think. They could just think I'm, Sun Ra did the same thing too. And just people just be like, okay, whatever. You think you're an angel from Saturn, whatever. That's the seven when it comes to Sun Ra. But there are people that just let you know who they are and I don't give a fuck. I'm tired of hiding. I don't want to hide. So I'll let y'all know. But there are other beings that I know are that's posing as human or whatever that I know is also, I can immensely tell. So I wrote, she actually wrote me first, and I had, she was letting me know, like, they definitely doing witchcraft on Black Americans in that reparations space. They definitely doing rituals and occults and shit. They doing shit. And she started letting me know about certain things, about what's going on with certain people behind the scenes and stuff. And I said, yeah, they going after so and so. I said, that person I told you about who they using that MK Ultra shit on it, I said, it's her. I said, she's under spiritual attack. And I did let her know. I tipped her off and let her know, like, look, don't play around with this stuff, because you'll see what almost happened to me, how they almost got my motherfucking ass. And I'm telling you, like, when I'm trying to get a message out, it felt like somebody was trying to rip my consciousness out my body. And I know two people who was trying to do it. These are powerful warlocks and witches that are in the reparation space. As simple as that. Now, they are Eastern Stars and Masons. Now, they will lie about that. Actually, they don't lie, but they can't deny it, because they know I know. I seen one of their soul contracts. As what when we were in that spiritual warfare like that, I literally felt like they were trying to, and these were two, they ganged up on me. They were trying to rip my consciousness out of my fucking body and take over and just like literally hijack my soul. Like I never felt that way in my life. And I knew it was them. And so I had to kept shifting dimensions like gears to go higher and higher and higher. And I remember as they was shifting gears too and going higher too, like, now we know how to get your asses. These is powerful warlocks, so they know how to shift in dimensions. And once I got after the 20th dimension, and I looked back, and they was like, fuck, and they couldn't go after that level anymore. And then I kept going, because I said, I don't know who else is around or who tried, because there was another person who was still fucking with me. And now this was actually someone that's related to me. And so I had to keep shifting gears and re-shifting gears. I mean, when I tell you, this is a powerful, and I was able to see like who he was in his other past lives. And I said, okay, this is a motherfucker that, and now he trying to control my fucking mainframe. And so he trying to hijack my consciousness too. Now, he had already been in that life, but he had walked away. He had been in the secret society, he had walked away or whatever, but he knows the systems. He knows the power. Okay. And so we shifting. I'm like going higher. And I'm like, damn. And I remember as I went to that last level that I knew, and I go there because this is talking way too much and I can't give all the shit out. No lie. That's how you know spiritual shit is true. Before I got to that last level, when he knew I was going to be able to take over his shit, he hurried up and calls my phone. He calls my phone and he looking like, and he said, hold up, stop. This is when we got on the phone. He said, this shit is serious. And I said, turn it over. It was already, because our spirits was communicating with each other. I already know what y'all trying to do. And that's when I came out. So they're trying to blood sacrifice me. And it was deep. But for him to call my phone like that, and then I got phone recordings of him trying to warn me, don't go in, but that's how people would do it. Now, was he trying to protect me, whatever? But I also know, like, a part of being free, like, sometimes your ancestors, they smother you. Sometimes some of your family members could try to smother you. They thinking they protecting you, but they actually smothering you, or they don't necessarily, they may be very powerful spiritually, but they can still violate someone else's free will, even though they think that, because I'm older or I'm a parent or I'm this, they got a right to do things, and they still don't have the right to do those things. Or they may have regret selling your ass out or something, but, and trying to make it right or whatever. But, yeah, I'll never forget that. That's so hard to explain to somebody. And I'm talking about, like, you have to do that interdimensionally through your consciousness and your mind, dude, and that level of power to have to deal with that. And then have to be in that. And I'm thinking like, okay, I need reinforcement. I had to have backup. I started opening portals. I'm like, fuck this. I'm like, because again, your higher self knows stuff. Like your soul knows shit that you don't forgot in your human form. But when you start to wake up, I'm guarantee you'll start remembering formulas, mystery sciences that are ancient to your bloodline. You'll start remembering how to open up motherfucking portals. You'll remember how to travel interdimensionally. You'll know how to travel. You'll know how to tap in and wake up other deities. Like you'll know how to, like you'll be shocked how much you'll start to remember. And I said, oh shit. If I get up high enough to this dimension, then I can start to take over. I can start to really take over this fucking mainframe. I said, fuck it, let's just do it. But he had called and was like, hold up, hold up, hold up. And then, for those that don't believe in telepathy, I ain't even gonna go all into that. But yeah, I mean, it happens. People will come for you. People will come for you. So you do gotta watch your back from these motherfuckers if you got a lot of star power. And again, every human is a star. It's more so whether you're aware of it or not, whether you decided to give away free will or not, whether you decided to distract yourself with things to not focus on, your inner self or not. And it ain't no judgment. It's not no judgment. I'm not judging nobody. I'm just saying that's what it is. There's no judgment. But you do want to be aware of who you are, and you do want to empower yourself, and you do want to always keep your power, never give your power away and externalize your power. That's what I would say. That's damn sure what I would say. And then you also want to protect yourself and fight when you have to. If somebody coming for you, don't be afraid to fight. Like, don't be afraid to fight. Now, be sensible. Like, when all that stuff was happening with me, I couldn't tell. It's like reality, 3D reality, and spiritual reality was clashing. So there was a lot of things in hindsight that should not have even gotten out to the public. But it did. Because I didn't know what was, he's like, you got motherfuckers attacking you, and you know that they public figures, and you know that they've been fucking with you. You're angry. You're angry. You want justice. I don't get nothing out of just throwing people's names out like that. Like, what do I? There's you don't get nothing out of that. So why would you do that unless there was something serious behind it? But unless it was something really serious going wrong. And I'm telling you, their rituals on me were going wrong. I had found on it and fucking shapeshifted and fucking was like, let's go to war. I don't know what the fuck these motherfuckers is doing. I don't fuck with y'all. I thought y'all was friends. I thought y'all was people that was cool. I thought y'all was people that I could fuck with. Like, oh no, y'all coming for me. I gotta come for you. You come for me. I gotta develop more awareness, develop more power. Because I ain't about to let nobody just snatch my motherfucking consciousness out my body and snatch my soul out my body. And I know who did it. And so that's why there's such a war now, even now, because I take that so personal. I take that so personal. Like, when somebody would just literally try to snatch your soul out your motherfucking body. And you could feel it where somebody trying to snatch it. Oh no, I'm gonna beat I'll fucking kill your ass. Spiritually, that is. Spiritual assassinate your ass. Like, coming for me like that. Like, what the fuck? I'm fighting like, I had to fight. And that you do that with your kinetic energy. Like, if you got a higher frequency, and you got to be careful, because if you go and match their vibrational match, you can inadvertently be more vulnerable to their attack too. And so there's an ebb and flow with this. There's an ebb and flow with this, and it has to be justified and warranted, But yeah, people that's free, stay free. People that's trying to get free, and stay fucking free. Don't let nobody try to snatch your consciousness out your body, and be careful of distractions. Because sometimes it's not something so literal where somebody's doing a fucking ritual on you. Sometimes it could be just psychotronics and radionics, and through the airways, through watching a YouTuber or somebody. There's YouTubers I know for a fact do witchcraft on a damn audience, like influencers that do witchcraft on it. Come on, y'all talk about them concerts and stuff y'all be going to. That's obvious. And so you want also something like that. You want to be careful of as well, of what you're paying attention to, what you making sure you're not get distracted. And I know for a fact that, certain people could say certain trigger things, and it'll get you riled up and get you worried about shit that don't really even matter, get you giving your energy to some shit that don't even matter. It happens all the time. So that's another thing to be wary of too. And also read what you sign. Don't sign, rarely sign anything. Rarely put your signature on stuff. Rarely agree to stuff. Shit, it's okay to say no. Say no. Shit, assert boundaries. Don't be afraid to say no. I don't give a fuck about no you talking about. I'm not a person that's interested in small talk. I ain't gonna hold you. I don't like small talk. I don't like talking about. I don't. I'm very uh, aware of my time and my like. So if somebody is talking about shit that I really don't care about, or you know, I ain't about to sit and be listening to that, or I'm not about to sit on the phone and listen to it, or I'm not about to engage in it. I don't feel like I need to engage anybody. I don't feel like I owe anybody, and I don't feel like anybody owe me. So I don't feel entitled to anybody's time, and don't nobody. I'm damn sure I making sure ain't nobody feel entitled to me. And so you have to be aware of those things. So don't sign like a bunch of, don't read before you sign anything. If it's something that don't feel right, if it's something that is not making any sense, it's most likely a deceptive clause in it. So don't sign if possible, or demand that you participate, that you drop your own contracts. Shit, you could tell these people that you want to come up with your own contract, that you gonna come up, that you gonna create it, and if they watch how they react. If every human said, you know what, um, yeah, I'll agree to work with you for you to distribute my music or will distribute my work or whatever, my writing or whatever. But I gotta make the contract, and then you could tweak it. We can go from there. I'm the one that gotta come up with it. Then what? Then what? But honestly, like a lot of humans, they won't fight for themselves. Like I don't know, like this fluoride in the water shit, man. And then they thinking that somebody coming to save them and all this shit, man. It fucks humans up really bad, because they could really change their whole planet overnight if they just knew their power stuck together. Stop getting caught up in war, start getting caught up in race. Like it's people that still racist. Like it's literally people that still practicing racism. It's people that still practicing sexism. It's like it's people that still want a war and stuff. It's sad. Like it's really so sad. But what can anybody do? Like I'm only one person, and they shall ban the fuck out of me. And so yeah, I can do something in the spiritual stuff, and I have done a lot, but we need more people. Like humans have to start to fight for themselves. You can't just rely on everybody else to do all the work for you, and then think you're gonna reap the rewards of a heaven that you didn't earn, or an enlightenment that you didn't do the work for. That's just not how it works. And so, make sure you know you don't get go in over your head with certain things when it comes to signing shit, or people trying to proposition you and stuff, watch you all around you and stuff. If you realize that there's a logical inconsistency within someone's personality and a character within that happens twice within the span of you meeting them, I'm telling you, pay attention to that stuff. Those are your red flags. Look in their eyes. Look at their eyes. Is they so pure? Do you see clarity? Do you see purity? Do you at least see a warrior spirit? Do you see an integrity spirit? Do you see a spirit of authenticity? Do you see a spirit? I'm telling you, like a lot of these people don't have the God particle in them. Like I was literally looking at the person who I've been following for a while, and I looked at their eyes, and I'm looking at the old stuff, and I said, this person is a Satanist. The first thing I see is a person that will steal and lie and deceive. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, damn, like why they such a powerful occultist, they'll put your ass in a trance. But I'm looking at they stuff, they old pictures, and I'm like, all you see is Satanist and fake. And a lot of the celebrities, they'll have that look in their eyes. A lot of the politicians, they'll have that look in their eyes. And then there's some that you'll get like an Aaliyah that have an integrity look, that have a purity look. Look at people's motherfucking eyes. The eyes is a window to the soul. That shit is real. Someone's eyes is gonna tell you what they about, what they talking about, who they are. Nothing else. It don't matter what they wearing. It don't matter how their hair look, what kind of clothes they got on. None of that. It's about what they shade, they color, they gender, they size. It's about them eyes. That's what y'all should be looking at, the motherfucking eyes, and for discernment. Because that's going to really, because the eyes is the optics, when they say the windows to the soul, it's the windows to the consciousness, the window to the seat of where your consciousness, the driver of that animates your damn body. So yeah, it's through the eyes and through this. Sometimes you can smell the armpits and stuff, and you can smell them, but if you ain't all up on them, you ain't gonna be able to smell them, because you can smell a person's spirit too. You can smell it too. And not because like somebody just sweating and they stink. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about you could smell the spirit. Like it's a smell behind the physical smell. Not because someone stinkers. But if look, the eyes is everything. They're gonna tell you everything you need to know when you're dealing with a motherfucker. And they'll try to do as much cloaking spells, and they do as much cloaking spells. They'll try to give you food. They'll try to feed you food. They'll try to do whatever they can to hide that shit. Don't be eating people food. Don't be doing none of that shit. And you will see what's in them eyes. You'll see what somebody feel about you. I've had people tell me that, oh, I love you, you smart, you brilliant, you beautiful, I love you, I love you. And I'm looking at their eyes and I said, this motherfucker hate me. This motherfucker is a treacherous ass bitch. You can see it right in their eyes. You can see it, and it's such a hurtful feeling because I'm like, damn, they really think you so fucking stupid you can't see it. Um, so they insult your intelligence because they hate you so much, but you could feel it. And again, I'm not one of those people that's overly paranoid. That's it's very rarely that I see that, but I've seen it in three people, three people where they looking at me and they smiling, yeah, 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 yeah. And as I'm talking to them and be interacting with each other, for one, my soul is just like this trigger warning, trigger like gut instinct, like wake up, get away from this person. I could feel that, and I'm looking at them, and they, oh, you're so pretty, oh, you're so, and I'm looking at their eyes, and whoo, that shit flicker, and you be like, I can't get, I can't interact with you. You are blocked. You can't come in my atmosphere. And then you once you put that out there, you see the way they unravel and panic, and they try to set you up. I mean, if the person literally that person, they sent a message where it was kind of like if for those who are smart enough, you could tell that this is a person that will report, that will make up a lot of a fraudulent police report against you based on what the messages and the exchange we had. And again, I'm a military scientist. And so I can see, I can see behind a person's intentions through their words, what they write me, what I'm always invested. Like that's how you have to approach things, like through a methodical investigation, because like I'm telling you, the world we live in is not what you think. And you'll see people unravel once they realize you're not falling for their deception, when you're not gonna let them control you, when you're not gonna let them influence your way of thinking. That's when you see a person's true colors. And that only happened to me 3 times, when you start to see a person unravel in their true colors, and you see their intentions. And that has happened, unfortunately, to me. And I hope that doesn't happen to anyone else, because we want to be dealing with genuine people. But if you're a free soul, you got to realize that you got a contract for hire on your ass, or a revenge for hire on your ass, and people can get paid to fuck with you, or people can get paid if they can get you into a contract. Yeah, you're going to deal with more fuckery than the average person, unfortunately. Especially if you make it on one of them blacklists, on the masonry list, and become an enemy of Freemasonry or something. Yeah, you're going to be fucked with more than the average person. And that's just something you have to be aware of. That doesn't mean develop paranoia or be afraid of the world, or, doesn't mean stop your life, live your life. But just know that, you're going to have to be pulling Nikola Tesla. You better get some birds, you better get some cats, you better get some friendly dog, and be in nature, and retreat to solitude, and be at peace with yourself and in love, and find some good people to be around. But you also got to watch motherfuckers. I'm telling you, give them 2 times of a logical inconsistency or a behavior that is inconsistent with just good human character, or something that's just logically incoherent. Like you just notice a slip of the mask. Do not do that. That is so serious. Do not take that lightly. If you notice one slip of that mask, cut them off. You're an agent. You're a motherfucker. That's, you know what I mean? It is. There's Agent Smiths out here. Shit, you'll be surprised. As soon as you see that mask slip 1-2 times, okay. And they'll know. Like I'll be catching people, and I caught a motherfucker, and you can feel the frustration, because like now I'm aware. So I'm like, okay, I know the angle. I know that there's some contract for hire shit on my head with the government and the secret societies that y'all get paid to fuck with me. And so I see that, and I know that. And so I don't play that. You give me one, you let that mask slip once, you're done. So now you got to now we talking about game theory, and now we talking about the game that people play, and isn't even worth, like, now that's because now you're short circuiting the whole play. And so you got to make them work harder. That's all you got to do. You make them motherfuckers work harder. They got to work. You got to really come to the table with something. You got to make the game interesting. You gotta really be good at motherfucking. You better be a fucking genius, because I'm gonna catch your motherfucking ass. Because I'm not falling for flattery. I ain't falling, because I'm looking at your soul. I'm looking at your character. I'm looking at your actions, and I'm observing you, and I'm letting you talk. I ain't gonna be doing all the talking. You talk. I'm gonna listen, and I'm just studying your ass. I've always been that way since I was a little motherfucking kid. I'm always gonna study a motherfucker. Now, have people try to do MK Ultra spells and all types of put you in trances, and people do witchcraft spells on motherfuckers to brainwash all types of, yeah, people do will get you. Well, but if it's illegal, you gonna wake up. You gonna wake up no matter what. If you didn't agree to it, or it's an illegal contract, or it's something that somebody, a parent done put over your head, or somebody done did something illegally to you, or the government didn't illegally did something to you, oh, you better believe it's gonna break. It ain't gonna work. That's against the laws of universal laws, all 12 universal laws, and the laws of thermodynamics. It's gonna break. It's against all laws. It's even against the law of water. No, it ain't gonna work. It's even against the laws of water. It's even against the laws of human rights. Like, no, that shit ain't gonna work. That shit ain't sustainable. Somebody gonna wake up. Somebody gonna figure out some shit. But yeah, let me get my ass on up off of here. I gotta finish up a little bit of these crab legs. I told y'all yesterday I had got me some crab leg, and I used the ghee. I have to say that the ghee, I think I just like the regular butter better than the ghee. But I got a little bit of left of crab leg. I'm gonna put that up on there. Yep. Put that. Finish eating them crab legs. It was okay. But I don't know how to do all them seasonings. You know how they do them crab boils, and they got all them seasonings in that pot, and you take the crab out, and they got all this seasonings and butter. It be so seasoned. All of the legs are seasoned. I'm like, I don't know how to do all that. And I even try to watch a video and shit, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna put some Old Bay in this bitch. I'm gonna put some corn on the cob in this bitch. Put some turkey kibasa, and I'm just call it a day. And you know how you take, when you dump the pot or whatever. My crab boils be looking so sad. I mean, they edible for me, but like if someone was to leave me in charge of the crab boil, I ain't in charge of no crab boil, because you gonna be ain't no gonna be no motherfucking seasonings. Y'all gonna be looking like, what kind of shit? I'll be looking like, nah, I don't know about that, because I was looking at it yesterday. I had it all laid out. I'm like, man, this don't look like what I'll be seeing on YouTube. Like, I'll be seeing them Black Americans. They go in with them crab. It be butter everywhere, seasonings. They be have parsley seasonings and fresh lemon, then butter everywhere. It don't be all like that. My sauce be looking all sad. It be edible for me. I mean, I like it. I love it, but it don't be looking like on that YouTube. Yeah, but yeah, thanks for showing up, everybody. Let's see. It says, I feel that, is it just me, or is that extra moon messing with everything? So you know what? I heard about the second moon, but I hadn't looked into what it actually means. Like, I think it could be. I mean, it's an extra moon. Like, that's a whole other energy. And I gotta look into, like, how did it come about? Like, where did it come from? Because I heard about it, but I just did not do any research. And so I should go back and do some research to see, like, where did it come from? Like, where did this moon come from? Like, and I could imagine. That it could be messing with some things. I will say that the week before last was some heavy energy, and I heard a lot of people complaining about it, though. Like, I'm just now coming out, whatever that was. But apparently it was something that was affecting all of us, because I kept monitoring, like, just on I was on Twitter and stuff, and everybody kept saying, yo, is it just me? What's going on? Or I feel like this. I feel very lethargic, or something going on. Did they spray something in the air and all that? It was a lot of people saying that. And so it makes me think that, they was definitely, it was something going on, whether that be one of them portals. I know September there was that 999 portal that got open. I don't know if that affected people, but yeah, there was definitely something going on. And I would say last week, boy, man, it felt like I know for a fact that there's some people, they done update rituals around last week and 2 weeks, for the last 2 weeks. This week, whatever, it feels better, because whatever they are doing is not working, or whatever they're doing is backfiring. So they kind of letting up. But I'm telling you, for them last 2 weeks, boy, I don't know who was, they was getting motherfuckers good. And I was like, I mean, I was literally operating off of like 2 hours of sleep every night. I was up because I felt the spiritual attacks, and I'm like, okay, let me just stay up. Let me do whatever I got to do. And I'm just now like, it's just now getting better, because you got to work with your own energy, and not everything is a spiritual attack. That one for me feels like it, but you got to figure I'm on a whole different caliber in terms of like, people wanting to maybe feel like that I slighted them, or maybe feel like they don't like me or whatever. But um, even when Trump was putting up that Archangel Michael thing, and then that guy Marcus Allen came out begging Americans to pray, and it was a heavy last 2 weeks. It was full blown warfare. You could feel it, and so I don't know if it had nothing to do with that second moon though. But yeah, let me get my ass up on out of here. Let me get something to eat. I'm gonna talk to y'all later. Happy Saturday or happy Saturn's Day. Love you guys. Bye.